predictions for this crazy, wild conference that is the Big 12. So you'll hear that coming up. We'll also dive into the history of BYU football with true freshman quarterbacks over the years. You'll hear from Will Farron, Isaiah Jada, some of the big question marks for BYU football as fall camp wraps up. And oh, by the way, BYU basketball, they wrapped up summer practices. We'll hit on that as well. Loaded show over the next 3 hours. You can listen on 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, the KSL News Radio app, the KSL Sports app. You can interact with me live. We've got producer Nate Slack, intern Jasmine Papinga, board op Tito here holding it down here on Cougar Sports Saturday. So we're locked and loaded, and let's dive right in to this quarterback at Camp Kalani.
The starting lineup. A look at the stories making headlines right now. It's time for the starting lineup on Cougar Sports Saturday.
And by the way, you can text us 57500 to give your live reaction. What do you make of the idea of true freshman quarterback Bear Bachmeier starting potentially for BYU? There was some intel reporting from On3's Pete Nako saying that it was trending towards Bear Bachmeier being the starting quarterback for BYU. And a lot of that centers around really reading between the lines. Aaron Roderick on Tuesday made it pretty clear that the race was trimmed down from 3 to 2, and those two being Bear Bachmeier and McKay Hillstead. But then when you decipher through the coding from Aaron Roderick, it makes you lead you to believe that true freshman Bear Bachmeier is that guy that is, in fact, trending towards being that starting QB. This was A-Rod earlier in the week.
Bear took the majority today, and McKay got some as well. As I mentioned Saturday, we can't keep going equal reps with 3 guys anymore. So, each day you're going to see right now McKay and Bear getting the majority of the reps with the 1s and the 2s, and that's where we're at right now.
So just kind of the timeline since last Saturday, because you remember last Saturday when we were on this show, BYU had its first scrimmage inside LaVell Edwards Stadium. Since Saturday, they had a Monday practice that was closed to the media. Then they had Tuesday practice. In that Tuesday media observation, only Bear Bachmeier took snaps with the first-team offense, and that coincided with Aaron Roderick speaking to the media that day. Tuesday afternoon, the team went up to the Heber Valley in Jordanelle and had a little bit of a team bonding retreat. So they spent some time up there, got some time together, and it was kind of fun to talk to some of the players yesterday about, what did you learn about your teammates? Because let's face it, when you travel with someone, you learn a little bit more about them. When you travel with the wife for the first time, you're like, I didn't know that about you, but I'm learning. I'm understanding that a little bit more. But so they had that team bonding experience. Then Thursday night, there was a practice inside LaVell Edwards Stadium, which I'm sure many of you were in attendance. It was for Cougar Club, and it was about 25 plays or so, and then a traditional practice setting. And then yesterday they practiced, and then today they're practicing inside LaVell Edwards Stadium. Yesterday at practice, during the media observation, which was very light, it was probably the lightest media observation period I kind of take away from the windows that we've got in the media thus far. Friday's practice was only about 15 minutes. It wasn't that impactful, but I will say McKay Hillstead was the guy that got all the first-team snaps in that brief media window. And to McKay's credit, with the first-team offense yesterday, only the second glimpse of him with the first-team offense, he had a really nice pass to Carson Ryan in yesterday's observation. I'll dive a little bit more into some of my additional thoughts from yesterday's practice in that 15 minutes or so coming up a little bit later. But that's the timeline of where things kind of stack up to today as they get ready to close out week 3 of fall camp practices today inside LaVell Edwards Stadium. And again, for Cougar fans, and you see the highlights, you see that practice inside LaVell Edwards Stadium for Cougar Club, things are trending towards being Bear Bachmeier being that starting quarterback, but it hasn't been officially announced yet by the coaching staff that he is, in fact, the guy. But what I will say about Bear Bachmeier, the size, the talent is undeniable. It's there. When you look at Bear Bachmeier, though, and I look at the timing of how this quarterback situation sets up. To me, you look at the quarterback hierarchy for this team. If you started with McKay Hillstead, and regardless of whoever you start, I think they're going to tear it up against Portland State. That's just my opinion. I don't think Portland State's good at all. BYU is about a 5-touchdown favorite. Whoever you start in that game is going to tear it up and have a lot of success. And if you went with McKay Hillstead and say week 2 against Stanford and he struggles, well, then you've given him the chance to succeed. And then it's a little bit easier to just say, we're going with Bear and all systems go. It's Bear's time. Whereas with the true freshman, you got to be all in on him from the jump. Because if he does have any issues, and you got to expect as a true freshman, there will be some games against someone that maybe we're not thinking of being a tough opponent right now, but there will be some days where it's just not a flawless performance, and you still got to kind of ride with him. And I think that's one of the challenging things about starting a true freshman right out of the chute in week 1. But there's no question when you watch his talent and the flashes that are good, they are really good. There have been moments in camp, though, that's been up and down. And I go back to practice number 3 where he throws a pick inside the red zone, held onto the football too long. But then there's also been brilliant passes as well. And what I'm getting at is that that's just what you kind of have to expect as a true freshman. It's very hard to just expect flawless perfection from the get-go. Aaron Roderick has said that Bear knows the entire playbook. That kind of blows me away to think that that's the case. I mean, he just arrived, around Memorial Day, early June. But Bear is incredibly smart. He's well-spoken. And when you see him, being close to L.J. Martin and interacting with those guys, like he's doing the work to form those relationships and form that bond to make sure it all works out. Because, it's not unconventional these days to go to a true freshman to start game 1 of a season. But it's just with quarterback, it's so much more than just arm talent and knowing a playbook. It also goes into locker room dynamics because we all know that is the most important position in a football program. It's the most visible. He is going to be the biggest celebrity on the team. So there is so much that comes with being a BYU quarterback. Is he ready for all of that? If you're ever going to go to a true freshman in week 1, Bear Bachmeier probably's got the personality, the demeanor to make it happen. And let's face it, too. BYU's in a situation where they're riding high after an 11-2 season. Kalani Sitake just got a contract extension. He retained his coaching staff, which was a top priority for Kalani. This staff's got some job security. And I don't want to say, it's just endless job security and these guys are safe forever. But if there was an offseason in a year or a season where you say you're going to roll the dice and go with a true freshman after an offseason where you lost your QB1 unexpectedly in, early summer, this is probably the year. And I think McKay Hillstead has been good when he's been with the first team offense. But I do believe the ceiling and the potential is greater with Bear Bachmeier. But I also think that people have kind of forgotten that McKay Hillstead, when he's been with the first team offense, including yesterday, I thought he looked pretty good too. So you got 2 quarterbacks that I think you could win some football games with. And, I've just always been kind of intrigued by the potential and talent of McKay Hillstead. But I'm totally fine with BYU going with Bear Bachmeier. I just think it could be a little bit more volatile with a true freshman because you could have a wide range of outcomes in a season. You think back to Zach Wilson when he was a true freshman. You had a flawless performance against Hawaii, and then you had a dud against Northern Illinois. That's just kind of what happens with true freshmen. I'll dive into the history of true freshman quarterbacks coming up next, so let's take a timeout. We'll dive into the history that BYU football has experienced with true freshman quarterbacks. If Bear Bachmeier does officially get that call, who are the players that have done this before him at BYU? Let's hit on that next. It's Cougar Sports Saturday, and it's powered by KSL Sports.
We're giving away a chance to win a free air conditioner to anyone who's commented on our YouTube videos. So go to Healthy Water and Air and comment today. Some restrictions apply, so see YouTuber at yourservicepros.us for details.
An emergency can happen any second. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. When you need medical care fast, the closest emergency room is a smart thing to know. Common Spirit Health ERs are your direct path between feeling scared or uncomfortable and feeling better. Find emergency care in your neighborhood at mountain.commonspirit.org.
You're the backyard big shot, the patio perfectionist, the envy of barbecue hosts all over the neighborhood. When it comes to your lawn, power moves are the only moves you make. That's why you just applied IFA Spring and Summer Lawn Food for healthy turf that stays green all summer. IFA Spring and Summer Lawn Food. It's the ultimate lawn owner power move.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
The Social Security Administration just announced they are now projected to run out of money 1 year earlier than expected. Benefits could be cut by as much as 23%, and the average person could lose more than $100,000 in lifetime income. This news could significantly change when you file for Social Security. Discover how you could get every penny out of your benefits with a free Social Security analysis from Boss Retirement Solutions. If you've saved more than $300,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. This free, customized analysis could help you get every penny out of Social Security. Call 801-896-9622. That number again, 801-896-9622.
Boss Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the Social Security Administration.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
This music bump makes me think of college football on ESPN. I think this was the college football playoff song. I think it was like 2016, I think. Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday. Mitch Harper here with you. Hey, exciting programming note. I don't know if you saw it on social media. We've been teasing it on the airwaves throughout the week. Starting on Monday, here on the legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio, Cougar Tracks is back and in a big way. You're going to have the morning and afternoon drive, of course, the updates, morning news, evening news with Jeff Kaplan. But beginning Monday night, 6:30 p.m., Cougar Tracks every weeknight, 30 minutes, BYU Sports Talk here on the legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio, and also there will be a video component where you can watch the videos, the live streams, on the KSL Sports YouTube page. So really exciting stuff. Going to be very busy this football season and cannot wait for that. So again, Monday, 6:30 p.m. here on KSL News Radio. Cougar Tracks will be every night. So subscribe to the podcast, Cougar Tracks, subscribe to Cougar Sports Saturday. We are locked and loaded for a big year of BYU sports. And will that big year of BYU football coincide with a true freshman leading the program? Bear Bachmeier, of course, is trending towards being that starting QB. That's been thrown out there in reports, but again, nothing official yet from Aaron Roderick and Kalani Sitake in regards to who will officially be that QB1 2 weeks from today against Portland State in Provo. But if Bear Bachmeier does become the starting quarterback for the Cougars, he would become a historic QB1 for BYU because he would be the first ever Week 1 starter as a true freshman for BYU football. You're probably thinking, what about Jake Heaps? He did play Game 1 as a true freshman, but he was the second quarterback. Remember, that was a 2-quarterback deal. There have only been 7 players that have started games as a true freshman in BYU football history, and a lot of them have been recent, within the last 15 years or so. And that's no surprise because development of true freshman quarterbacks, I mean, the high school ranks, there's so much more resources for QBs to develop and become guys and body types that can compete at the college football level. But this is the list. 1997, Drew Miller. Oh, man, I remember this game. At UTEP, BYU lost 14-3. I remember I was at the 49th Street Galleria. My mom forced me to go to this kid's birthday party, this 9-year-old's birthday party. I'm like, Mom, I don't want to go to my friend's birthday party. I've got to watch Drew Miller. And I remember at the 49th Street Galleria, I'm getting like updates. I used a payphone. I said, Mom, what's going on with that game? I don't know, bitch. I said, please, someone give me an update, please. Anyway, that's just, man, nostalgia is hitting me. It's like that TikTok sound. Like that, the audio clip. I don't have to explain it to you. But Drew Miller, he lost that game. He was a heralded recruit too, big time. Next after him was John Beck. He played against Stanford, 18-14. I was at that one. That was the infamous, I'd rather win or lose by 9 than lose by 4. I got to go back to that quote, what Croton said. But BYU lost that one 18-14. Oddly enough, that was the last time BYU hosted, the only time the Cardinal have visited BYU. That was his first start, but he started some games in that 2003 season. The next true freshman quarterback was Jake Heaps, 2010, and this dude was all-world, man. Jake Heaps.
Play action for Jake Heaps. He wants the end zone for Hoffman. He's got it. Touchdown, Cougars.
Look, we were all in on Jake Heaps, man. He was the hotshot quarterback, 5-star on Scout.com. He was going to be the dude at Iggy's just down the street here off, 4th West, the old Iggy's. Him, Zach Stout, Ross Oppo. Gosh, those were some times, man. It was up and down for Jake. His first official start was against Nevada, and the other quarterback in that game was Colin Kaepernick. How crazy is that? That Nevada team was so dang good. Think about the QBs BYU faced in 2010. It was Jake Locker, top 10 pick. Christian Ponder, he was a first-rounder, married to Sam Ponder from ESPN fame back in the day. Tim Jefferson of Air Force, who was a legit triple option guy, and then Colin Kaepernick. And I think Utah State had a legit QB too. I think it was Chucky Keaton. Maybe I'm getting my timeline there mixed up, but that was a gauntlet of a schedule for a true freshman to navigate with the opposing QBs that those teams were facing that year. After Jake Heaps, you know the name, Taysom Hill.
Quarterback draw on 1st and 10. Taysom's got a gap, and he's gone. 50 and 40, 30. Taysom going. 10, 5, touchdown. Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill's start was in 2012 against Hawaii. 47-0. BYU just wrecked Norm Chow and the Rainbow Warriors in 2012. And you thought, okay, it's Taysom time, baby. And then he quickly after gets hurt, and that was it. But he was 112 passing yards, 143 rushing yards. And there's a little bit of comparables to me between Bear Bachmeier and Taysom Hill. Maybe a little more athlete, but I think Bear's further ahead as far as throwing the football. But as far as inviting contact and physicality, Bear's just like Taysom in that regard. The next true freshman to start a game for BYU was 2015. This play was in relief of Taysom Hill, but it was a Hail Mary. Tanner Mangum, this became, he was the talk of college football in 2015.
Three-man rush. Mangum, all kinds of time. Steps into the throw, in the wind, down to the goal line, and caught! Touchdown, BYU! Mitch Matthews on the last play of the game.
How was that already 10 years ago? My goodness. Tanner Mangum, his first career start was against Boise State. Remember, though, with Tanner Mangum, he was the co-MVP at the Elite 11 with Jameis Winston. We talked about that until it was beaten to the ground. Mangum, he was really good that season. He was outstanding. But remember, he had a spring ball before he went on a mission in 2013, and then he came home, and then away he went. Next after him was Joe Critchlow, 2017 against UNLV. And then Zach Wilson in 2018 against Hawaii, the youngest player to ever start a game for BYU.
Now the Cougars set up. Wilson steps up. Throws, end zone, touchdown!
And now, after Zach Wilson, will it be Bear Bachmeier? Something to keep in mind. All these seasons that I referenced, 1997, 6-5, 2003, 4-8, 2010, 7-6, 2012, 8-5, 2015, 9-4, 2017, 4-9, 2018, 7-6. A whole lot of mid. Is that what you expect if Bear Bachmeier starts? We shall see. But it goes back to what I said in the opening segment. A lot of up and down play with true freshman quarterbacks. Let's take a break. Jernaro Guilford next as we break down the BYU cornerbacks here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
It's 12:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Verl Johansson. KSL's top local story this hour. The Board of Pardons and Parole is considering whether or not to commute Ralph Menzies' sentence. Menzies' commutation hearing ended yesterday with his attorneys arguing the 67-year-old should have his sentence changed to life in prison without parole due to his declining health and worsening dementia. Family members of the victim, Maureen Hunsaker, disagree, saying Menzies should still face the death penalty. The board will vote on a decision sometime between now and Menzies' execution date, set for September 5th. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump is dropping calls for an immediate ceasefire as European allies insist Ukraine must have security guarantees as part of any peace deal. Trump spoke with Ukrainian President Zelensky and European allies in a call following a summit with Russian President Putin.
According to two sources familiar with the call, President Trump said that Vladimir Putin had demanded that Ukraine cede all of the unoccupied Donetsk region in exchange for halting his offensive in two other southeastern regions of Ukraine, Kherson and Zaporizhia. And he said that if Ukraine did so, he would also halt more attacks on the country.
That's ABC News foreign correspondent Patrick Reevell. Coming up, a slight chance of rain before we're back close to triple digits. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 12:32.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Let me tell you an amazing story. Last week, a customer came in. They were a creative director for an agency, and they were frustrated that their old, slow computer wasn't processing their files quick enough. He had a big project due and could not afford any delays. Well, we hooked him up with one of our new, powerful 2025 desktops for only $999, and he was able to complete his project with ease. Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Everything's looking good on Utah's major freeways. No major delays north or southbound I-15 between Ogden and Provo, or I-80 east and westbound between Tooele and Park City. We do have a crash in Linden, though, northbound Highway 89, right around the 9400 North intersection. It's blocking the right shoulder at the moment, but not causing many major delays to traffic in the area. Today's high looking to hit 93 degrees with mostly cloudy skies and a chance for rain. We've got more sunshine and a high of 93 on Sunday before we heat up to 95 on Monday and 98 on Tuesday. Right now, partly cloudy and 88 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Burl Johansson, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here's your host, Mitch Harper, on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
It's hard to believe, but next week, college football returns. We are going to have an incredible Big 12 lid lifter in Dublin, Ireland. Iowa State, Kansas State, top 25 matchup that will count in the Big 12 standings next week. Coming up at the top of the hour, I'll give you my Big 12 football season preview on the show, as I'll give you my predictions for who will be the champ, who will be the most disappointing team, the surprise team. Where's BYU going to fit and all of that? I'll share that coming up a little bit later this show. One theme, though, with the Big 12 this year, elite quarterback play. It's the best conference in college football this year for QBs. There were some great stats from Big 12 Media Day about these QBs, where 9 quarterbacks that threw for at least 2,400 yards last season are back in the Big 12 this year. The rest of the Power 4 combined has only 11 such quarterbacks returning this year. This league is deep and talented with QBs, so that's a tall task for Janelle Guilford, the cornerbacks coach and defensive passing game coordinator for BYU, to shut down these high-powered passing attacks in the Big 12. And I caught up with Coach G to break down his cornerback unit, some of the personnel that's going to be making up that pass defense for the Cougars this season. This is my conversation with BYU assistant coach Janelle Guilford here on Cougar Sports Saturday. Practices roll on, and here now with cornerbacks coach Janelle Guilford. And coach, week 3 of camp, I think day 11 now. It's the dog days of camp. How would you assess how your cornerbacks have performed in a group that needs to replace 2 guys that were excellent last season?
Yeah. I think we've been playing pretty good. You know, I have about 5 or 6 guys who've been making plays. We haven't done everything to 100%, but at the same time, guys are competing, and that's really all we can ask for. Continue to get better every day. As long as they're doing that, I think by the time game 1 comes, we'll be all right.
Has Maury Bama gotten better every day?
Yes, he has. You know, he's just a few assignments away from having a perfect camp, you know what I mean? So, which is a great thing. And he's my senior, senior of the group. Between him him and Dunlap. But so those guys have to teach the young guys how we do it here. So.
Has he taken the throne, as we talked about in spring ball, as far as Maury being challenged to take the throne of the position?
Yeah. You know, he definitely has. He communicates more. He's opened up as far as like his personality and stuff, just being more open to talk to guys, teaching guys and stuff like that. So it's been a blessing to have him and a blessing to get his year back.
You mentioned that there's about 5 guys. I'm curious a few of them. Trey Alexander, we haven't seen him as of late in media windows. How's he doing health-wise? Is he going to be okay? Like, what's the status there with Trey?
Yeah. No, he's back. He practiced. He practiced yesterday and today as well. I mean, he was nicked up, so we had to sit him for like, I want to say he sat for like 2 or 3 days or whatever the case may be. But you can definitely know when Trey's out there just because his personality, his character. You gonna hear him. You gonna see him. He brings so much passion to the game every single day and every single play, and that's a great thing about him.
Is that passion and talent? Is it going to be hard to keep off the field this year in year 2 for him?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. And again, we're gonna do it by committee this year. I mean, it's gonna be a few guys who are going to play, but the expectation, the standards is not going to change. No matter from 1 all the way down to 6 or 7. As far as the coaches go, we expect the same outcome regardless of who's in. So yeah.
Evan Johnson missed spring ball, but he's looked really good. I mean, just it seems like he was really improved last year. Yeah. Where's been like the areas of focus in the development of Evan from being just an elite speedster athlete to now a power 4 cornerback?
Yeah. I mean, he's always had the athletic side of things as far as the size, the speed, and everything like that. So I think missing spring was actually a blessing for him because he got a chance to kind of sit back and see it from a coach's view. You know what I'm saying? So his football IQ grew so much, being able to sit back and watch his brothers play and stuff like that, and seeing when things are going to come, seeing certain formations and route concepts and alignments and stuff like that. So he got a chance to see those things every single day from a coach's view, and I think that just made him a better overall player.
Who are some of those other guys that factor into the 5 that you maybe trust going in to Portland State coming up here in a few weeks?
Yeah, from Maury to Trey to Evan to Dunlap to Marcus McKenzie. You know, those 5 are all making strides every single day and getting better and better. And we know we lost 2 great ones that knew the defense, that made plays every single day, that always play consistent. So the guys know we have to build it and we have to play as a unit now. You know what I mean? Because we don't have those 2 senior guys who have been in the program for 4 and 5 years and stuff like that. So it's going to be pivotal that we come together as a unit and play as a committee.
Following up on Marcus McKenzie, is it similar like Evan where he's kind of benefited from maybe taking some time off due to recovering from injuries last year? Has that helped him in his development going into his redshirt sophomore year?
Yeah, for sure. And the thing about it is everybody clicks at a different time. You know what I mean? It can be the same guy, the same speed, same athletic ability. Some guys get it in year 1. Some guys don't get it to year 5. You know, but the thing is, especially being in a Kalani-led program, stay with them every single day, and eventually it's gonna come. So we're just taking our time. I'm working with him every single day, and he's getting better and better every day.
Common thread with all these guys is like elite speed. I mean, just when you look around the talent, this is year 10 for you here. I mean, this has been a build where you've had a lot of talented corners through your time, but this look, I mean, is this maybe the fastest your cornerback unit's been since you've been here as the coach?
Oh, for sure. It's not even close. Like out of those 5, 4 of them can really run, and then the 5th one can run, but what he doesn't bring from the athletic speed standpoint, he has the highest IQ. So it's a balance between them all, you know, because they all talk, and he brings some IQ, they bring the athletic ability, and when they all mix it up, we become a pretty good unit.
And that IQ is Dunlap?
It is, yeah. It is because he's just one of the natural corners who've been doing it for a long time. So he's when he can be consistent, he'll be a guy that's going to be hard to keep off the field as well as those other four. So it's definitely a blessing to have that group of guys.
Last couple of moments here with Coach General Guilford, heading to his 10th season here in the BYU football program, is on Kalani's staff. And I did want to ask you, kind of just a young guy, and I'm sure it's going to take time for him, but Cannon DeVries, came in as a safety, but he's playing corner, and there's been moments where he's played a little bit inside. What's the latest on Cannon, his development?
Yeah. So he's playing nickel, and I do use him as far as a corner sometimes, as far as the outside, but mainly the nickel. And he's been doing a good job, man. Again, he'll be a freshman because he just got here. You know what I mean? But definitely shows signs and signs of being physical, being fast, and another guy who can run. A guy who's a football guy, so his football IQ is higher than people think it is. You know what I'm saying? So he definitely fits in our room as well, as far as from that nickel position with him and with Cabella and Tavion Beasley. So we have a good group there too. The guys are just working, competing. But yeah, he's definitely a good one, and he'll be a good one.
And last thing, just to follow up on, have you seen that leap in second year from Cabella? And then also, just what did you like in Tavion Beasley to bring him in the spring portal window?
Definitely seen the leap from Cabella, and he's done a good job as far as the offseason, man. Just working with Jay every day, watching film and stuff like that. Just learning the defense, and then Eddie Heckard is here working with him as well. So he played in his defense 4 or 5 years. He knows everything about it as far as the small intricate things as far as from that nickel spot. So that's a good job of bringing him in and helping with Johnny and Cannon and all the nickels and stuff like that. So yeah, and then you asked me one more thing. I can't remember.
And then just Tavion Beasley, I mean, Southern California ties, I'm sure that maybe played a role, but what'd you see in Tavion from his San Diego State film that said he'd be a good fit here?
Yeah, I actually recruited him out of high school. It didn't really work out, so he ended up going with Dion, to Jackson State, then went to Colorado with him, and then he ended up going to San Diego State, and things weren't really working out, and we felt like we needed depth at that position, so I told him he could come in and compete, and that's what it's all about. Nothing's going to be promised. Come in and compete. If you earn it, then you earn it. If not, just keep fighting. So.
Last thing, just how much are you enjoying being a part of this program with Kalani?
Oh, man, and Kalani, and just from the top to the bottom. I'm talking about, man, from the president to the AD, from Kalani to Jay Hill, from all the assistants, the GAs, the analysts, the volunteers. It's just a great place to be, and definitely doing some great things here. And I'm looking forward to what the Cougars can do for the next 10 years. You know what I mean? But no, it's definitely a great thing, especially when you're surrounded by great people. So
that's BYU cornerbacks coach General Guilford. Great insight there from Coach G. He just shoots it straight to me, man, and that's what he does with his players too. With the cornerbacks, he's always just shooting it to him straight, and I think that's where he gets the most out of his guys. I think that's going to be an interesting group. I think that one of the more notable tidbits from that interview is that it will be cornerback by committee. It will be led by Maury Bamba. And Maury Bamba has looked really good in camp, and I'm excited to see his evolution this season. That's big shoes to fill, replacing Jacob Robinson. Robinson, I believe, was the best cornerback in the Kalani Sitake era. And to lose that guy is significant, and it doesn't surprise me that he's had moments, Robinson, in San Francisco 49ers camp and almost looking like a guy that's a potential contender to be in the mix, to be on that 53-man roster. So Maury Bamba's got a tall task in front of him, but I think he's up to the challenge. And honestly, he's got a better measurables and frame and skill set than Robinson from the NFL perspective. He's 6'3". Robinson was a small guy. People overlooked him, and they threw to his side of the field thinking they could take advantage, and he clearly proved them wrong. I do love, too, seeing Eddie Heckard helping out the cornerbacks. He's been helping out in an analyst role along with Connor Pay on the offensive line. I just think that's huge because Heckard if there's anyone that knows a Jay Hill defense, it's Eddie Heckard. And for him to lend his insight to Cabella, Tavion Beasley, Maury Bamba, I just love that. So good stuff there from Coach G. Let's take a break. On the other side, I'll give you my kind of deep cut thoughts and observations from yesterday's practice, and we'll set the table for hour number 2 as I give you my Big 12 football predictions for the 2025 season. We're 1 week away until Big 12 football kicking off. We'll break down the league coming up at the top of the hour, but practice notes next here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
I'm Maria Chaleos, and I'm here with Dale, another client of Salt Lake City Fat Loss.
Thank you.
Now, Dale, why did you join the Salt Lake City Fat Loss program?
Because it has to do with accountability. I need somebody to hold me accountable.
What was your goal with your weight loss?
I started out at 330 pounds, and my goal is to get down to 200 pounds.
Were you able to meet that goal?
I've lost 46 pounds. I've still got a ways to go. I figure I probably have 2 more sessions to go with it, so I'm going to stay in as long as it takes.
What helped you be successful at losing weight at Salt Lake City Fat Loss?
Because I believe in it. I'm living it. It's a part of my life now.
Do you recommend the Salt Lake City Fat Loss program, and why?
Absolutely. It's the best program I've ever been into, and I've tried lots of diet programs.
Learn the secret of losing up to 1 pound of unhealthy fat per day and start your own success story online at slcfatloss.com. slcfatloss.com.
Results may vary.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
The Garden Restaurant is reimagined space with exceptional taste. With a fresh, healthy menu, dine-in or online ordering. Open weekdays 11 to 3. The Garden Restaurant, next to Temple Square.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
You hear that? That's Mike, sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. That's because Mike was smart this time. He took ZzzQuil Ultra to fall asleep fast, stay asleep longer, and get the deeply restorative sleep he needs. So now he wakes up refreshed and ready to conquer Mondays.
Let's do this Monday.
ZzzQuil Ultra. Not for colds, just for sleep. Really great sleep. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful when Mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. I wanted a better relationship with Dad, so I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings or to Alateen. I'm sure glad I did. Is someone's drinking troubling you? You might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
Get Mr. Mac's Performance Missionary Package. Includes 1 performance suit, 4 head collar stretch shirts, 3 ties, 1 mission belt, 1 pair of Echo or Johnston & Murphy shoes. All for just $695 at Mr. Mac.
Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday here on KSL News Radio. KSL News Time, 12:52 p.m. We're located live here in Salt Lake City at Broadcast House. You can interact with the show. Text us 57500. Share your thoughts on the quarterback battle. Are you excited to see a potential true freshman starting for BYU in game number 1? if that in fact ends up being Bear Bachmeier. Share your thoughts here with us on the text line 57500. Yesterday, me and intern Jasmine Papinga, we were at the student-athlete building watching practice. It was only a 15-minute period that we got to watch. Practice moved up a little bit earlier than expected. We were supposed to watch around 11:40 a.m. It got moved up to 11 a.m. They've been very efficient this year, I must say. BYU football has been on time. Sometimes, usually, it's like it's going a little bit longer. This year, it's been very efficient in terms of times to the point where they're getting done early. But Friday's practice, I thought, was kind of light in terms of observation and impact. But here's some notes from Friday's practice. McKay Hillstead was with the first-team offense during the 15 minutes that we saw. Bear Bachmeier was with the second-team offense. There were some familiar faces in the crowd. Samson Nakua, Neil Pau, Carter Wheat, former tight end, Isaiah Nakua, Samson and Puka and Kai's brother. You remember he signed with BYU out of Bishop Gorman, a defensive lineman. So he's in that BYU family. And then former national champ Ty Mattingly, he was there. McKay Hillstead had a couple good passes, I thought, a handful. He had a quick strike to Carson Ryan, kind of a, nothing, to really write home about. But then a few plays later, he had an excellent pass over the middle, on the money, in stride for Carson Ryan to be able to get extra yards after the catch. And it was a great ball from Hillstead to Ryan. And Carson Ryan continues to be a big focus for BYU. And, I mean, look, his stats to this point in his college career at UCLA and Utah were really nothing to get excited about. But to me, I think in this BYU offense and the desire from Aaron Roderick to really rekindle that, tight end being a threat in the passing game, they want to get that going. And Carson Ryan gives them far and away the best chance to do that. And how exciting, too, when you talk long-term. Brock Harris last night in his opener, the future heralded tight end in the class of 2026. First play of the game for Pineview High. He's taking it to the house, 80-yarder. Dude's a machine. So bright days ahead for the tight end, but maybe it gets rekindled this year with Carson Ryan. Hillstead also completed a nice pass to JoJo Phillips. JoJo Phillips has, looked like a guy that's ready to take a jump in his career too. He's consistently been with the first-team offense. Chase Roberts, JoJo Phillips, Parker Kingston. Wash, rinse, repeat. That's been kind of the marching orders for that wide receiver one unit. And then next in line being Tiger Bachmeier, Cody Hagan, and then like Tay Nakua, kind of a mixture of guys sometimes in that sixth spot. But JoJo Phillips, I'm excited to see what he becomes in his redshirt sophomore year. Some additional notes focusing in on Bear Bachmeier, who was with the second-team offense. Bear took a shot downfield with Cody Hagan. I really love the power in the arm strength that he threw the football. It was a nice ball downfield. Hagan was kind of interfered with the defensive back. I didn't catch who the defensive back was, but it was a pass interference. Otherwise, I think it would have been a really great pass and a big play between Hagan and Bear Bachmeier. Bear had an incomplete pass that was a miss in the flat to Logan Payne. He probably would have liked to have that back. He also completed a quick screen to Jovesa Demooney. Jovesa Demooney, one to maybe watch. I did not see Enoch Nawahine. He was at practice, but he just appeared to be, suited up with the shoulder pads and whatnot. So we saw a little bit more Jovesa Demooney. So something to keep in mind. But I think Jovesa, I don't know if he's ready to contribute in games yet. Obviously, the running back pecking order is L.J. Martin, Sione Moa. But Jovesa Demooney is a redshirt freshman out of Ridgeline High School, former wide receiver. He's kind of following a similar trajectory of Miles Davis, taking on, from a wide receiver spot, now going to running back, learning the position. But I'm seeing moments from Jovesa that says, maybe down the road he could be a factor. He's got good speed. I think that's one thing about Jovesa that really stands out, because I will say with the running back unit, who is that guy that's just got top-end elite speed? I think LJ's got it, but I haven't seen it enough in games to make me feel confident that he's just that breakaway speedster out of the backfield. I just don't know who that guy with elite speed is out of the backfield at running back for BYU this year. Sione Mo is a really good athlete too. Basketball guy, played multiple sports in high school. But again, it's just being a good athlete doesn't mean you're elite with speed. I think Demouni Jovesa is probably the fastest running back in the group, but LJ is fast too. Don't get it twisted, but I'm just talking about elite top-end speed to really break away from a defense. They were also on the East Field for the first time in media observation period. If you're familiar with the student-athlete building practice fields, they've got it. They've got a field. They've got like a bunch of 75, 100 yard. I can't even remember the exact yardage, but they've got two different fields, one on the west side, one on the east. They were on the east for whatever reason yesterday. It was the first time we saw that in camp during media windows. But again, kind of an uneventful day. Thursday night was the Cougar Club practice, which I will say, that was cool. I think for all the Cougar Club members and you listening out there, it's like, how cool was that to get that email that, hey, come to practice. Come watch the Cougars for the first time. Because I can tell you till I'm blue in the face about what I think of these guys, but it's different for fans to get eyes on the team for their own, to make your own opinions. That's what makes fandom fun, is to get the chance to create your own evaluations. You can listen to me, and look, I appreciate you listening to me. Like, I love it when you're tuned in and hearing my observations, but I think it's also fun, like, hey, if you disagree with me, you have your own opinions of the team. That's what makes it fun, and it was just great to see the Cougar Club get invited to that practice because, let's face it, they've been through it. That ticket stuff with basketball, and there was a lot of demand in football too. Maybe some people got squeezed out, and that's just unfortunate. And hopefully they can continue to allow for these practices to happen more often. From what I understand, it wasn't too, it was only like about 25 practices, but pretty light practice, but still a chance for fans to see these quarterbacks and see it under the lights because, let's face it, we're all starved right now for football. We are desperate for football content right now. I'm tuned in to NFL Network right now, just loving watching this football preseason NFL action. I just need football in my life. And I thought that was great for BYU to open the doors for the Cougar Club to come watch this football team in action. In that practice, Bear had a pick in 7-on-7, and then McKay had a pick in 11-on-11. Taking a break, Big 12 preview next.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. More about what President Trump told Ukraine's president and European leaders about his meeting yesterday in Alaska with Russian President Putin. Mr. Trump said Putin raised the issue of protecting the Russian language and Russian Orthodox Church in Ukraine, according to a source briefed on the call. Those are long-standing demands, suggesting he has not changed his conditions for ending the war. Two sources tell ABC News that President Trump told Ukraine and European leaders Putin demanded Ukraine withdraw from all of the unoccupied Donetsk region in exchange for stopping Russia's offensive in two other regions. ABC News Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce.
If a ceasefire wasn't reached, Trump had warned Russia would face severe economic consequences. After that 3-hour sit-down with Putin, Trump now says the best way forward is to work towards a peace agreement without a ceasefire first, adopting Russia's long-held position.
The first Atlantic hurricane of the season, Erin, is now a Category 5, the most dangerous level. Top winds 160 miles an hour. Wind and rain hitting Puerto Rico and St. Martin. ABC News forecaster Jeff Banson.
This is just an absolute monster of a storm here as it goes up north of the Leeward Islands, north of Puerto Rico, although we are going to see some flooding likely there. There was a flood watch in place, up to 6 inches of rain there as that storm approaches. But again, it's not directly impacting it, not directly hitting any islands. Unfortunately, curves northward.
Aaron's expected to head east of the Bahamas, passing between the Outer Banks of North Carolina and Bermuda midweek. It's forecast to create a big surf along the whole east coast of the U.S. Storms are forecast to drop inches of rain on parts of the Midwest this weekend, with possible flash flooding. Relief for over 100,000 air travelers around the world stranded. Canada's government has forced Air Canada and striking flight attendants back to work and into arbitration. You're listening to ABC News.
Not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Ever wonder why you have insurance for your car or home, but not your digital life? Meet WebRoot Total Protection, your digital bodyguard that includes antivirus, identity protection, VPN, cloud backup, and more. With plans for individuals and families, WebRoot takes the guessing game out of cybersecurity so you can get back to living your best life online. Go to webroot.com/offer and get 50% off today. That's webroot.com/offer to get 50% off today. Live a better digital life with WebRoot, because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
It's 103 at KSL News Radio. I'm Verl Johansson. KSL's top local story this hour is breaking news. And it's good news for North Ogden residents. City officials have downgraded the evacuation status for people living east of 1050 East and 2850 North to green or ready, thanks to success firefighters have had putting out the Willard Peak fire. This means people should prepare for any potential threats, like making sure you're registered on the county alert plan or making a family communication plan. A bicyclist is in critical condition after they were hit by a vehicle early this morning. South Salt Lake police say a vehicle hit the victim near 2896 South and 900 West just after 2 a.m. and then took off. Emergency crews took the bicyclist to the hospital in critical condition. We don't know what their current condition is. Police are still looking for the driver in the incident. KSL Sports, Real Salt Lake visits Charlotte FC tonight as they continue to fight for a spot in the playoffs. RSL is just 1 point back at the final playoff spot with 9 games left in the season. RSL and Charlotte kick off at 5:30 p.m. The Salt Lake Bees are in Texas today as they visit the Sugar Land Space Cowboys. The teams have split the first 4 games of the season. First pitch is just after 6. And coming up, a slight chance of rain, but mostly heat. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time 104.
Why settle for a basic night out when all tickets for Utah Symphony and Utah Opera performances are now on sale? And for a very limited time, premium main floor seats to most performances are $40 or less. Enjoy splurge-worthy nights without the splurge with events like the music of Phil Collins and Genesis, Utah Opera's The Shining, and Carmina Burana. Don't wait. Prices go up after August 31st. More at usuo.org/August. Subject to availability and restrictions.
Discover the art of adventure in Cedar City, the gateway to parks, plays, and high-elevation recreation. Topped off with unique shops and savory bites. Plan your visit at cedarcity.com.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Things are looking good on Utah's major freeways. No slowdowns causing any problems or crashes on I-15 north or southbound between Ogden and Provo. I-80 looking good between Tooele and Park City east and westbound. Still have a crash blocking the right shoulder on northbound Highway 89 in Linden, right around Center Street, but it's not causing too many delays in the area. UDOT construction alert. Plan ahead as US 6 from Diamond Fork to Thistle will be down to 1 lane in each direction through the rest of the year as crews install a new median to improve safety. Today's high is looking to hit 93 degrees with mostly cloudy skies and a chance for rain. More sunshine and a high of 93 on Sunday before we heat up to 95 on Monday. Right now it's 89 and partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Verl Johansson, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here's your host, Mitch Harper, on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Hope you're having a fantastic weekend. We're 2 weeks away till BYU football is back, and we're 1 week away from Big 12 football returning. It's hard to believe, but it's already year 3 for BYU football in the Big 12. The The journey in the Big 12 has been documented on this show every step of the way since Dr. Lawrence Skuvenik back in 2021 said, Brigham Young University to the Big 12. We've been following it every step of the way, and it's hard to believe that it's already year 3. Crazy. Time flies. This is going to be, as you would expect, you would think, a wide-open year in the Big 12. But I will say this with the Big 12 as we dive into our Big 12 preview for the 2025 season here on Cougar Sports Saturday. I don't expect the complete upheaval as we saw last year. You know, the media took a big fat L last year. Let's call it what it is. We picked Arizona State to finish 16th. We picked BYU to finish 13th. And those two teams were darn near the top. Iowa State, I think, was 6th or 7th. 6, 7. My kids are probably hyped right now. I just did that. They're like, Dad, you just did that. 6, 7. I think and then they ended up in Arlington. And then Kansas State was top 4, and they were one of the only teams that the media got right. Everyone else, we pretty much took a fat L. Picked Utah to win the thing, and, well, they nosedived. I know listeners are loving that, except Bordop Tito. The Big 12 then said we're ditching the preseason poll because the schmucks in the media don't know what you're talking about. We need to get that clip from President Trump. They don't know what they're doing. But the Big 12 this year, I think, is going to be a lot better than people give it credit for. But what I'm getting at is that I don't expect a team that's got low expectations going in to suddenly rise to the top. I think having a little bit of experience with each other is going to, cause a situation where you're not just going to see, UCF, who I think is going to be near the bottom, suddenly rising to the top. I mean, maybe it could happen. I mean, that's the beauty of the Big 12, but I just don't see that happening. I think people got to look at last year and realize 8 of the 16 members had joined in the previous 12 months when kickoff happened a year ago at this time. It was completely new. And that's the fun and the beauty of the Big 12 is that it's a powered league and it's got access to everything in the sport. Yes, it makes less media rights, but who cares about that? You've got access to everything that the sport has to offer. And yet it's kind of a startup, as Brett Yormark has discussed about the league. It's completely reinventing the identity, the look and feel of the conference. And after year 1, it was highly entertaining. There's no doubt about that. And the Big 12, I think, has bright days ahead in this conference. And I want to dive into what I believe will be the order of finish. Again, you can roast me after December when the season's over and take me to task for these picks. But this is how the order I see playing out in the Big 12 this year. I'll start from the bottom and work my way up. We'll go through this thing. So I got last place, 16th, UCF. 15th, I'm going to go Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy, last year, I've kind of been torn. I feel like they're due for maybe going to a bowl, and I think they could sneak in. But how candid he was about just the roster flip and also his coaching staff flip. They've got 10 new coaches on the staff. They basically overhauled a coaching staff in the portal, the coaching staff. So that is all new in Stillwater. Too much new for me. I've got Oklahoma State near the bottom. I got 14, Arizona. I feel a little uneasy about that one. I do think Arizona is going to be better this year, but not enough to say the teams in front of them I like a little bit more. And I think, again, that's the beauty of this conference. 13, I'm going to go Kansas. I'm not sold on Jalen Daniels anymore. 2 years ago, he was the preseason Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. I will believe it when I see it, and maybe I'm just holding a grudge because of what they did to BYU in November. They've got the talent, but I think Devin Neal is a huge loss at running back for them. I know they got Hinshaw back, who BYU faced the past couple years. But Kansas and Jalen Daniels being a little bit banged up and unavailable in spring, I'm like, here we go again. I will believe it when I see it with Kansas. 12, I'm going to go West Virginia. This is solely on Rich Rod, man. I don't know enough about that roster. Heck, I don't even know if he knows enough yet about his roster. He's got about 70-plus new guys on that roster. But Nico Marchiol, the quarterback, Not bad. And, when he stepped in place of Garrett Green in some games when Green got banged up, I thought Martial was a better passer. Remember 2 years ago when BYU had Jake Retzloff in his debut start, and West Virginia just ran the football down BYU's throat that night. But when they actually went to the air, Garrett Green wasn't very accurate. I think Martial is going to be a better, more accurate passer. And with Rich Rod, I think West Virginia gets to a bowl game. So I'm going to go with them at 12. 11, I'm going Houston. Connor Wegman, quarterback from Texas A&M. Willie Fritz, I'm bought in on him, man. And what he's doing on the recruiting trail, he is going to get Houston back to the success they were experiencing with Tom Herman. Like, you think about Houston, they don't have much of a fan base in football and really in general. Like, that was the least attended fan base, visiting fan attendance I saw last November when Houston rolled into town. I counted it on two hands, I think. I think it was like 9 people were in the northwest corner of LES. Like, I know you're down and out, and it's a losing team and all this, but still show up to get the free ice cream from BYU like it's a tradition now, right? You're going to have at least 24 people. You had less than 10. But Houston, with Willie Fritz, is going to get things rolling here very soon, and I think this is going to be a breakout year where, like last season, we forget, worst offense in the Big 12, but one of the best defenses. They lose their DC, but personnel-wise, they're still really good. I think Willie Fritz is going to have them back in the postseason. I'm going to go with them at 11. Number 10, I'm going to go Colorado. I think they get off to a strong start. I'm really curious to see what they do at quarterback with Caden Salter and Juju Lewis, the heralded true freshman. I mean, that was all the talk at the Alamo Bowl. It's funny to revisit that week in San Antonio, how the Colorado media, they paid no attention to BYU. It was just, hey, Coach Prime, like, these bowl opportunities to get Juju Lewis some looks, like, to get ready for 2025, because this is going to be just basically a coronation. You're going to win this game against BYU. Well, pump the brakes there. Happy, though, Coach Prime's doing good, recovering from his cancer. So happy. I love Coach Prime in the Big 12, and I think Coach Prime is awesome at Colorado. I just think they take a little bit of a step back. I will say this, though. I think Colorado's going to be more physical and bigger in the trenches. Last year, they were so undersized. BYU, the size difference between BYU and Colorado in the trenches was night and day. Colorado is bigger in the trenches this year. That's going to give them a chance to continue to have success in this league. Number 9, I'm going to go Cincinnati. Maybe the best wide receiver unit in the Big 12 resides at Cincinnati this year, and they got Brendan Sorsby at quarterback. Number 8, I'm going to go Utah. I'm not as high on Utah as others. They've suddenly, overnight, I think because of Phil Steele picking them to win the league, I think the national media has just kind of carried the water for Phil and now just anointed Utah to be number 1. Still, that offense I think it's going to be much improved. No question they're going to be much improved. Devin Dampier will be good, and that offensive line is really good. But I think this is the weakest defense that Kyle Whittingham has had since they've been a power conference program. That's year 15. And you expect they're going to be solid. They're always good at defense. But losing Tanavasa was a big deal. And they don't have the top-end talent at D-tackle like they once did last year. And Utah was an elite defense last year. I think they're going to be much improved offensively. I think they take a little bit of a step defensively. I think they kind of reside in the middle of the pack. But I will say this, too, about Utah. In the middle of the season, they go 6 weeks where they don't leave the state. And I think that's noteworthy when you consider you're in a national conference that spans 4 time zones. You go the heart of your schedule, and you don't leave the Beehive State. Very nice breaks for Utah on the scheduling front. Number 7, I'm going to go BYU. And here's why. Again, quarterback, easy to point to that. I think BYU is going to be elite defensively. And BYU's defense alone will keep them in every football game this year if the offense is at a standstill at times. And again, I'm banking on that. Like, there's going to be some weeks where that happens. These coaching staffs in the Big 12 will figure you out. You've got to have another step, another gear once the quarterback, whoever it ends up being, we project, Bear Bachmeier potentially. But if it ends up being him and he doesn't have a second, third gear to his arsenal in this playbook, you will get figured out. So I think there's going to be some spots where BYU loses, but that defense is going to be special this year for BYU. The schedule's tougher than people give it credit for, but at the same time, I can also drop 10 wins because there's some spots in it where I like BYU potentially, but I'm going to go with the Cougars at 7 and play it safe. Number 6, Iowa State. Not as bullish on the Cyclones as others. I think Iowa State they lost a lot at the skill positions. I think Rocco Beck's really good, but to me, Iowa State maybe peaked a little bit last year. I'm expecting a little bit of a step back, maybe more to 7-5, 8-4 this year. So I got Iowa State at 6. Number 5, I got Baylor. I was a little bit on edge to pick this because I'm not going to lie, that Dave Aranda Wolf on Wall Street quote, I don't know if you saw it. If you did, look it up. It's very uncomfortable. But it was just like, that's the guy leading the program. Like, Baylor's got legit talent. Baylor is a really good football team. That was such an underrated win BYU got last year in September in Waco, taking down Baylor. Really good football team. I love Josh Cameron at wide receiver, Sawyer Robertson at quarterback. I think they've improved at defensive line as well this year too. But I do like some of the home games they've got Baylor on their schedule, so I'm going to go with the Bears to be at 5. Number 4, Kansas State. They are probably the most steady in the Big 12, where you can bank on them getting to 8. It's just now a question of, can they break through and get back to Arlington as they did 3 years ago? But Kansas State, I think, will be really good once again. I love that game next week in Dublin against Iowa State. I think that, the schedule sets up pretty well for them. They got at Baylor. They got Texas Tech at home. They go at Utah in the penultimate week of the regular season. I think K-State's in a really good spot. 3, I've got Arizona State. I think there's just a little bit of a slip from last year's highs. They won every close game, including against BYU. I don't want to say they were blessed, because they were a really good football team. At season's end, the momentum, they were hammering teams at season's end after they had that breakthrough against BYU and K-State the week prior. But I think that Arizona State just takes a slight slip. I think they're going to be in that 9-win territory. I just think that maybe a few of the margins will not go your way this year, but I expect good things from Kenny Dillingham. He is their modern era Frank Kush in Tempe. He's going to be really good for the Sun Devils. So here's my top 2 teams, the teams that I believe will play in Arlington. Number 2, I've got TCU. And then number 1, I've got Texas Tech. I got an all-Texas showdown in Arlington for the Big 12 title. I am all in on the Horned Frogs to get to Arlington. I love that team, and I'm all in, too, on Texas Tech. I know it's a heralded, $40 million, $30 million roster, whatever the number is. Texas Tech spent big money in the portal, but I think what people are overlooking, they retained a lot, too. You look at some of the homegrown talent that Phil Steele pointed out in my interview I had with him last week. They're 33rd nationally in returning production. And then you pair that up with the talented transfer portal players, and a guy like David Bailey comes in from Stanford. Texas Tech is going to be excellent this season. I'm all in on the Red Raiders. I think Baron Morton is good if he can stay healthy. He had shoulder surgery. I'm all in on Tech. I think they got one of the best defensive coordinators in the league from Houston and Shao Woods. So give me Texas Tech to win the Big 12 Conference. We'll dive more into maybe the team that'll be the biggest disappointment, more surprises, and some other superlatives around the Big 12 with Nate Slack coming up on the other side right here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
An emergency can happen any second. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. When you need medical care fast, the closest emergency room is a smart thing to know. Common Spirit Health ERs are your direct path between feeling scared or uncomfortable and feeling better. Find emergency care in your neighborhood at mountain.commonspirit.org.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
It's been a long, hot summer here in Utah, and let's be honest, many yards and gardens are looking a little tired. But good news, as the nights start to cool, now is the perfect time to revive your yard. Yes, it's time to get our outdoor spaces ready for back to school and all your favorite fall activities. At Olson's Greenhouse, we're bringing in fresh shipments every week of vibrant garden mums and beautiful fall bedding plants to help you refresh your outdoor spaces. Cooler nights and warm soil create the ideal conditions for planting, and your perennials will thank you next spring. So whether you're sprucing up the porch, replanting your flower beds, or decorating for harvest season, Olson's Greenhouse has everything you need to make your garden thrive again. To find a retailer of Olson's plants near you, visit ogg.com for Olson's Greenhouse Gardens. That's ogg.com, or find ideas and inspiration on Instagram at Olson's Greenhouse Gardens.
You want to see basketball played the way it's supposed to be? Tune in to Ice Cube's Big Three this summer. Watch stars like Dwight Howard, Kemba Walker, Joe Johnson, Michael Beasley, and many more, along with Hall of Fame coaches. Experience the fast pace and physical play and fun action that defines the game. You know what it is. It's the Big Three. Catch the best professional 3-on-3 players in the world live every weekend on CBS and Vice.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Do you suffer from depression? The Department of Psychiatry at the University of Utah is currently seeking people between the ages of 18 and 65 who have depression to take part in a comprehensive treatment study. The goal of this study is to see if 2 naturally occurring supplements will improve depression in people living at higher altitudes. Participants will take the supplements for 8 weeks, and the study lasts 12 weeks in total. Participants must already be taking an SSRI or an SNRI medication for at least 8 weeks. Compensation will be provided to study participants. Again, if you are between the ages of 18 and 65 and suffer from depression that hasn't responded to usual antidepressants, the University of Utah is conducting a study that may help. For more information or to take part, please call 801-581-3475 or visit altitudedepressionstudy.com. That's 801-581-3475 or altitudedepressionstudy.com.
Mustard! Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday. Mitch Harper, Nate Slack, producer Nate here in the studio with me. We're talking Big 12 football. Okay, so Nate, I gave you my Big 12 picks for the 2025 season. I've got Texas Tech and TCU. I want to hear from you. And Cougar Nation, we want to hear from you too. 57500. Who is your pick to be in Arlington in the Big 12 championship as Big 12 football kicks off next week with Kansas State and Iowa State in Dublin? And then BYU, of course, 2 weeks from now. Who do you have early pick? It's August 16th, 1:25 p.m. here in Salt Lake. Call your shot, Nate. Who you got in Arlington?
I'm going Arizona State, Texas Tech.
Hold on. We got to get your mic on. Turn up your mic there. Turn on your mic.
There we go.
Go
All
ahead.
right. I got Arizona State, Texas Tech. And I think Texas Tech is interesting because I feel like the last 4 or 5 seasons, they've always been the dark horse, where people are saying, oh, yeah, Texas Tech is going to be the team that makes a big jump this year. They make it back to Dallas or to Arlington, and it has never happened. I think this year, Texas Tech, though, I'm going to skip down the list a little bit to my best player in the league. I think a big reason they make it to Arlington is because of Baron Morton. Coming off a season last year where he passed for 3,300 yards, 27 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. I just think Texas Tech has what it takes. I think in order to make it back to Arlington, or to make it to Arlington at all, you need to have a good quarterback, and I think that's what Texas Tech has.
I like the pick. Where do you have BYU in your standings?
BYU, I'm going to go 5th.
Okay.
I think that's because there's a lot of questions around the quarterback, and outside of the quarterback, I don't think there's a ton of question marks. I know tight end has some question marks. That's probably the second biggest position of concern on the team. But I think Carson Ryan's solid enough, and as long as he's able to stay healthy, I think they're going to be all right. But you have a solid running back with L.J. Martin, Sione Moa. If Hinkley Rapati is able to get his waiver, that's another bump. I think the offensive line is going to be solid. But more importantly, I think the defense is going to be able to keep teams in check. And so if they're able to keep teams under 24, 21 points a game, I think BYU offense is going to be able to put together 3 scoring drives per game. And one thing I thought about this week too is with Will Ferrin talking about being able to hit from 65 yards out, that means if BYU gets a touchback on the opening kickoff, the offense has to travel 27 yards to get in field goal range. And if that's the case, I mean, you're on 27 yards, you get basically a guarantee 3 points. And if your defense is holding teams to 14, 17 points a game, that makes a big difference.
That's a great point. I love that breakdown there from Nate Slack. How about this? Big 12, circling back to the league. Maybe they're surprising because you're going with Texas Tech. How about biggest disappointment in the conference? Who do you think is going to be the team that flops?
Biggest flop, I think, is going to be Kansas State. I'm not sold. And I think a lot of it stems from the whole Avery Johnson quarterback thing with Will Howard last year. Will Howard leaves. Avery Johnson's kind of anointed as this next guy.
I was so bought in. And I still am bought in on Avery Johnson, but continue.
I just don't see it. And maybe it's just because, I was at that BYU Kansas State game and he had just folded. Even against Kansas last year.
They lost to Houston, too, last year.
They lost to Houston, too, and Houston was not a very good team. So I'm not sold on Kansas State. I know you have them number 4 on your list. I'm thinking they're more in that 8, 9, 10 range. Interesting enough, my surprise team is not Texas Tech. It's actually Kansas. And I bring that up because last year, I cannot get out of my head. Last year, they're leading Kansas State late. Kansas State scores a touchdown and ends up winning that game. And then the next 3 games, they rattle off wins against Iowa State, BYU, Colorado. And I know they lost their running back, but with their quarterback back, who was the preseason player of the year 2 years ago, and he's had so many injuries, we basically just stopped talking about him. But I think Kansas, I think they've got the pieces. I think there's going to be a lot of extra juice in their stadium, too, with their new stadium. I think it's going to be
$300 million donation, too, from David Booth.
Yes. So I think it's going to be a tough place to play. I think that in itself probably factors in an additional 2 or 3 wins for the team.
I like that. If you want more Big 12 football breakdown, coming up this year, Tuesday nights on KSL News Radio, 1st and 12, 7 to 9 p.m., myself and Alex Keary, we're talking Big 12 football throughout the football season. Tuesdays here on KSL News Radio, 7 to 9 p.m. We're breaking it down, talking Big 12 football on 1st and 12 here on KSL News Radio. Taking a break. Chase Roberts next.
Whether you're building your $1 million dream home, giving your current home a facelift, or just trying to get it out of the minor leagues, Peach Windows and Doors brings the big league look.
Modern style, energy efficiency, clean lines, tough builds, and curb appeal that hits like a home run. Not sure what you need? No sweat. Peach has the coaching staff to get your home in the game. No pressure, no gimmicks, just solid game plans and pro-level results to help you knock it out of the park.
Come see for yourself big, beautiful windows that bring the outside in. Visit Peach Windows and Doors showroom, big enough to spark ideas, small enough to feel right at home. It's time to step up your game and make your house the MVP of the neighborhood. Why live in the minor leagues when you can swing like $1 million? Peach Windows and Doors, because real homes play like champions. Visit peachdoorsandwindows.com or call 801-566-1255 for your free consultation.
That's Peach Windows and Doors. Give them a call, 801-566-1255.
It's 1:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Burl Johansson. KSL's top local story this hour, the third annual Main Street Fashion Show turned their event into a fundraiser to help the downtown Salt Lake businesses that were destroyed by a fire earlier this week. Frank and Caitlin Paul-Raj own the London Bell. They told KSL TV the community support means everything to them as they work to rebuild.
And I shouldn't be smiling, but I'm smiling that the community has come together.
We knew that there was heart and love here in this community, but we didn't understand how grand it was.
The Downtown Alliance's Employee Assistance Fund has raised $100,000 so far, and officials hope to reach $500,000. Our top national story this hour from ABC News, drug maker AstraZeneca is launching an at-home delivery option for the flu vaccine. It's a nasal spray called Flu Mist. Here's ABC News medical contributor Dr. Alok Patel.
For people out there who don't want to either go into a pharmacy or get the injection, there is a convenient at-home via mail option for people. I want to remind everyone that Flu Mist has been FDA approved, meaning it has been shown to be safe and effective for about 20 years. It is an option for people who are eligible.
Dr. Patel says before now, you could only get the spray at a pharmacy. And coming up, we'll be flirting with triple digits this week. KSL Weather's next. KSL News Time, 1:32.
At Intermountain Health, we believe life is a circle. May yours surround you with insight, a healthy perspective, trust, and reassurance. The belief that our differences aren't that different, and compassion just when you need it most. Life is a circle. May yours help you live the healthiest life possible. Intermountain Health.
Right now at S&S Roofing, get $1,000 off any roof replacement. Plus, you'll get their incredible 50-year worry-free warranty. Dial pound 250 and then say the keyword S&S Roofing for a free bid.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. It's a crash-free drive at the moment on Utah's major freeways. No major delays north or southbound I-15 between Ogden and Provo, or east and westbound on I-80 between Tooele and Park City. Step back in time at the Utah Renaissance Fair, August 22nd and 23rd. Enjoy exotic foods, performers, and artisan treasures. Get your tickets now at utahrenfair.org. Let the adventure begin. Today's high looking to hit 93 degrees with mostly cloudy skies and a chance for rain. More sunshine at a high of 93 tomorrow before we heat up to 95 on Monday and get up to 98 on Tuesday. Right now, partly cloudy and 90 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Verl Johansson, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here's your host, Mitch Harper, on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Year number 5 for BYU wide receiver Chase Roberts. There was a redshirt year in 2021. Now he's heading into his redshirt senior season. He didn't expect to be here. He was planning at this time a season ago to have 2024 be his last season and go on to the NFL. Instead, he decides to run it back one more year, and he has the potential in terms of stats and I think just overall talent and production, the whole embodiment of what a BYU student-athlete is, to be one of the all-timers in BYU football history at the wide receiver position. I caught up with Chase yesterday at BYU football practice to discuss camp, the quarterbacks, and a whole lot more. This is my conversation with BYU wide receiver and leader Chase Roberts here on Cougar Sports Saturday. BYU football fall camp practices roll on, and here now with BYU wide receiver Chase Roberts. And Chase, nearing the end of week 3 of fall camp and heading into the second scrimmage coming up on Saturday, what's been achieved thus far through camp, you think, for the offense?
I think being able to just get the confidence in our offense rolling and getting those red zone plays, every situation, 2-minute, whatever it is. I think we've been able to rep every single situation that we'll be in during the season with our guys that we know are going to be out there. And it's been huge, and I'm excited for the next couple weeks to polish what we've been building thus far, and then rolling into week 1.
What is this offense built with the quarterback debate ongoing? Yeah. How has that been able to be built with that quarterback battle?
It's been awesome. I think we have banked reps with everybody, so whoever steps out game 1, it's gonna be nice. We're gonna be rolling. We love each and every one of them. and they can all lead, they can all make plays. So we're excited to start game one with one of those guys and to get rolling. So.
What have been your impressions, though, of true freshman Bear Bachmeyer in particular? And I ask that because he's the new guy, and this is his first practice to get work in practice. What have been your impressions of him?
He's a stud. Yeah, he can sling it. He can do everything, run, command the offense very well. I love when he gets in the huddle. He always hypes everyone up, says, let's go, let's get going. We're gonna roll it with it, and it's been awesome to see his energy and his effort and what he's been able to accomplish thus far. So,
have you kind of, I mean, I know you've been a leader and you are a leader of this team, but for guys that are new, that maybe this is their first camp at BYU, do you almost like kind of show them the ropes of like, this is how it's done out here?
Yeah, I think a lot of guys come out with a lot of nerves, and it's hard for them. And once they just get rolling and we're able to make some plays and show them the offense, they get comfortable. It's nice to have fun and know that, I guess, remind them that this is just a game of football. And it's really out here, just being with your brothers, having fun, and then the plays come when you are able to relax and just get into that flow state. So it's been fun to see the guys that are new try to get that and slow everything down, and it just takes time.
I got to ask you, last week when you guys went through the first scrimmage, how did it feel to take a hit on that shoulder and have some contact and go through that for the first time since the Alamo Bowl?
No, it was perfect. It was meant to be. It landed right on the shoulder, which was nice. Just get that confidence, like, all right, I can hit people, I can get going. I'm ready for game one. So it was a good thing, and I'm excited to get the full pads on in stadium and get actually playing some teams. So.
What were areas, or what have been areas of focus for you individually? I know the team goals to come first, but for you individually, what can be achieved for a veteran like yourself who's been around this program for a while? What can be achieved in fall camp that you've been trying to work on individually?
Yeah, biggest thing, I guess, is timing with the quarterbacks, being able that they can trust me and throw into tight situations that I'll come down with the ball, and showing them during practice that that's the case. Also blocking, being a great blocker. I think I can take a step forward in that, and then being a leader like on and off the field as well. Just filling in that role as a captain and as a leader. My last season, being able to become who I want to become and ultimately prepare myself for the future of the NFL and for whatever else the future holds. So.
And follow up on the NFL point. I mean, every practice, there's always scouts at these practices. Does that ever kind of sit in the back of your mind, like people are watching, and this could be a chance to really impress?
Yeah, of course. You always want to make plays, and you always want to show them that you're the guy that works hard, that makes sure everyone's in the right place, and be that leader that they want on their team. So I think it goes a long way when you can show that during practice, for sure.
Do you think that, or what do you feel is the potential of this offense? Because it feels like all the pieces are around this quarterback to have a lot of success. What's this offense capable of this year?
Yeah, I think we can be scoring a lot more points than we have in the past. 40, 50 points, and I think that comes with having that run game that's awesome with LJ and all the guys that we have up front, and then having those play action passes that we're able to get downfield and get the deep balls, come down with those, and also just tear them apart in that middle. The over the middle and the little back shoulder, stuff like that. So I think we're just all around just a great offense that's going to put up a lot of points, help out the defense a little more, and go win a lot of games by big margins.
And did it help too with the team bonding experience up in the Heber Valley, Jordanelle? What would you say about that experience?
Oh, 100%. It was needed, and I think that we were a good team before. Now we're a great team. Being able to come together and be brothers, and I think goes a long way when we step on the field.
Do you learn new stuff about guys? Like, it's always kind of cliche, like you learn something new when you travel with someone. Like, you kind of learn new stuff about some of these guys that are maybe been around for a while, but also new faces as well?
Yes, of course. We do this testimony meeting too, where they share some of their hardships, and it just puts things into perspective. Like, these guys, everyone's going through something hard, right? Makes you want to play for them. So it's such a great opportunity to get to know the guys and to love them.
Last couple things here for Chase Roberts. Season opener coming up in a few weeks. What's the schedule for someone like yourself who's a proven commodity in this program between now and August 30th? Is it almost
getting a little bit of rest and not having to go full practice? Like, what's kind of the workload that Fessie's laid out for you getting ready for Portland State a few weeks?
Yeah, I think there's a good balance between ramping it up a little bit, getting more reps with whoever the starter's going to be, you know, and also make sure I'm focusing on my recovery. And I think as I go super hard during practice, I can get as many reps as I want as long as I'm taking care of my body off the field. I think I'll be able to be ready by game one and have that rest and that, be ready for when that time comes. So,
last thing, has it just kind of hit you at all that this is the senior year?
Yeah, I think it's starting to. You know, it hasn't really yet, but I definitely know that it's my last season, and it's motivated me a lot to give everything I have when it might be the last time. So I'm excited to just give it my all. I'll be there for my brothers and take advantage of every moment, whether it's a 12-period practice or a 25-period practice that goes on for 3 hours. Just exciting to be out here with the guys, and I'll keep taking advantage of every moment.
Best of luck this season. Stay healthy, Chase, and looking forward to a big year.
Thank you so much.
Chase Roberts, thanks for the time, man. Appreciate that. And Chase, through the last 3 seasons, 1,784 receiving yards as a BYU Cougar. He has led BYU in receiving yards the past 2 seasons. Total 12 touchdowns through 3 years. Maybe that number's got to get up. Let's see that number get up to 9, 10, this year. I know that's tough. Almost 1 touchdown per game, potentially. But, only 4 touchdown grabs for Chase last season. Let's see that number go up. I think Chase, though, is going to be really good this year. Preseason first team all Big 12 selection. And I thought it was noteworthy, too, talking with him and just addressing his shoulder, taking a hit, and having some contact. I don't expect today for him to be getting much of a workload because, again, it's getting to that point of camp where, okay, we know Chase took a hit. He's okay. He bounced back up. He got the mentals right. He's ready to go for the season. Let's get him locked and loaded and ready for the season. But at the same time, and then I go to myself, but he needs that chemistry with the quarterbacks. And that's just one of the frustrating things right now with, BYU having its whole outlook changed at quarterback is that you don't have that luxury to just tell Chase, hey, completely, call the dogs off the rest of camp, just get ready for Portland State. Because you got to get those reps, that timing with Bear, with McKay, for whoever. So they can, whoever's going into that game, you've got some chemistry with those guys. But I will say that Chase Roberts has looked excellent in camp, and I think that he's going to be one of the best receivers in the Big 12, and he needs to be. BYU needs some first-team all-Big 12 guys around this quarterback. I don't look to the next quarterback being the first-team all-Big 12 quarterback this year. That's not the expectation. It's the expectation to get the ball to the playmakers. L.J. Martin, Chase Roberts. That's a good place to start. Carson Ryan as well. Get the ball to those guys, and I think good things will happen for this BYU offense. But I always appreciate the time with Chase Roberts. I always kind of, when I think of conversations with Chase or just players like him, where you just remember when they're young high school guys. Like BYU was recruiting Chase Roberts when he was a high school sophomore. That was, gosh, what are we talking here, 8, 9 years ago? That's a long time. That's a lifetime in college football. And so his name's been linked to BYU football for a long time. And for him to go into a senior year and kind of get close to that finish line, you hope for him that it becomes a special, memorable year. And it's the rewarding year that he envisioned by running it back for one more season at BYU and potentially giving him the chance to springboard into the NFL and have a career at the next level. Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll get to some Cougar Tales and also introduce our new intern here on the program and throughout the BYU football season. So we'll hit on that next here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
Many people worry they're not making the right investment choices inside their 401ks. Did you know that you might have a little-known opportunity to add some additional investment choices to your 401k and get the help and recommendations you've been looking for? This exciting feature is called a self-directed brokerage window. And the best part? The money still stays within your 401k. Learn how the trusted advisors at Capital Wealth may be able to expand your investment portfolio. To learn more, call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Improving your 401k might mean the difference of retiring a few years earlier. Let's find out. Schedule your no-cost 15-minute consultation with the Capital Wealth team today. Call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor.
Do you know how America became the best country on God's green earth? We made things, from automobiles to airplanes to textiles. We were the manufacturing epicenter of the world, the innovators that every other country turned to. I'm Katie Lyon, co-founder of Allegiance Flag Supply, and I'm here to tell you that the American spirit is alive and well at Allegiance, where we make American flags 100% in America. When you fly your American flag from Allegiance Flag Supply, you're not just honoring our country, you're supporting American men and women who proudly make the highest quality American flags, period. True patriots who put care into every stitch. See our full story at showallegiance.com and learn about our 100% American-based supply chain. Fly your flag from showallegiance.com with pride, because every flag says manufacturing is still alive and well in the U.S. and we are still the greatest country. Save $35 on your American flag set when you go to showallegiance.com.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that, and third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get Mr. Mac's Performance Missionary Package. Includes 1 performance suit, 4 and collar stretch shirts, 3 ties, 1 mission belt, 1 pair of Echo or Johnston & Murphy shoes. All for just $695 at Mr. Mac.
Welcome back to Cougar Sports Saturday. Mitch Harper here with you. Hey, just a reminder, coming up on Monday night, 6:30 p.m. here on the Legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio. Cougar Tracks begins a new era. Daily show every single weeknight, 6:30 p.m. You are getting a BYU sports fix here on KSL News Radio. So Cougar Tracks goes nightly, beginning on Monday. You can listen to me talking every single night, talking BYU sports with you. So subscribe to Cougar Tracks to get that feed. I'm in the studio right now with producer Nate Slack, and we got a little bit of Cougar Tells to get to, and let's fire that up, Nate. Cougar Tells, what do we got on deck?
Yeah, so for starters, I thought it was interesting this past week. The game against Oregon State in 2028 has been canceled. What are your thoughts on the cancellation, and is there a game that you're a team that you would like to see BYU try to put in their place?
Flexibility for the Pac-12 to accommodate additional teams being added. BYU is always a flexible partner. It was reported that Tom Homo was the one that signed on this. So this was before Brian Santiago. So I'd expect the game to be rescheduled at some point down the road. But for 2028, where you've got Boston College at home, I go with a, neutral site, non-conference showdown. Santiago, tap into those connections with ESPN, tap into those TV network connections, and get a marquee non-conference game to get really, what Kalani wants. Big Ten, ACC, SEC, all the conferences. Try to get someone. There's enough time between now and 2028. I would love to see some big marquee opponent BYU squaring off in a neutral setting.
Bill Wright dropped a bomb on X this week. I think he's some BYU fan, but he somehow got a scoop of a Cougar Paw, a BYU ice cream snack to be sold at games potentially. I know we're more of a Cougar Tail podcast and show here, but a Cougar Paw, what are your thoughts on that?
Bill Wright, the former D-end linebacker BYU player, Bill Wright, is on Twitter. Yes, that Cougar Paw looks fantastic. Look, these Cougar Tails, we got to keep the main thing, though. We can't get too distracted. Like, they got to keep the specialty, but you can't just assume like they're always going to buy all these specialty items. Like, don't get too crazy now, BYU. Stick with like a specialty 1 or 2 games, and then keep the main thing, and that's the Cougar Tail. You start getting into this paw, you start getting into the cub size, you start doing all these different wacky things, and then we're losing the identity of the Cougar Tail. We got to keep the main thing, and that's my thought on that.
I respect it. Last one, BYU basketball wrapped up summer practices. Have your expectations changed at all for BYU basketball?
It's still high, and you got to get to the Elite Eight at least. And that's crazy to say going into a BYU basketball season, but Elite Eight or bust for BYU basketball. I can't wait for this team. They're going to be awesome. I think I'm just still kind of intrigued to see how it all kind of comes together in the non-conference. The dynamics, the personalities. Seeing those guys at the Cougar kickoff, Rob Wright, I think he's going to be a fan favorite. Xavier Staten, too, loves being at BYU. Seeing him at the Cougar kickoff a few weeks ago. And I think, and that's just noteworthy because, on the surface you say, oh, yeah, of course he loves being at BYU. You probably got a big fat payday. It's BYU basketball. Bags you. But, BYU, it's different. Provo, it's a culture shock. But when you're embracing not only the basketball product, we know the guys love Kevin Young. We know they love the staff and everything, the operation. But then when you actually love the community too, it makes for a rewarding BYU experience. That what BYU wants these players to experience. That's why they're willing to play the game and get NIL that's competitive, so these guys can be exposed to the great things that BYU has to offer. It's not just solely take the money and never be part of this community. Like, they still want you to be a BYU athlete, which comes with, hey, being at the Cougar kickoff, interacting with the fans. So I just think when someone like Xavier Staten, who I think could have a much bigger impact than maybe we thought a couple months ago, I think he's going to be a really fun addition. I love this roster. It's so deep. It's talented. Again, my thought, Nate, is you got to get to the Elite Eight. Anything less, I feel like might be a little bit disappointing with how good and loaded this roster is.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's wild to think about because even last year, I think it was always make the NCAA tournament, win one game, and you're happy. And to all of a sudden, fast forward 8 months, and now it's Elite Eight or bust.
It's wild because 16 months ago, it was just a feeling of everything was gone with Mark Pope and the Bluegrass State and Kentucky this, Kentucky that. And now BYU is maybe on better footing than Kentucky right now. I mean, honestly, I think I would take BYU's roster over Kentucky's in year 2. So credit to Kevin Young and what he has built and his staff, because it is good times right now for BYU basketball. And it's always good times here on the Cougar Sports Saturday show. And it's always good times covering BYU football here at KSL. And we are excited to introduce our new BYU football intern, Jasmine Papinga. She's in studio with us now. Jasmine, excited. We're happy to have you here with the KSL team for this BYU football season.
I'm more excited to be here. A lot of expectations going into this season. I'm excited to cover it with you.
So tell us a little bit about your background. How can fans interact with you, follow your coverage? Tell us all your kind of connections to BYU and just a little bit of your story and how you got here.
Well, first of all, if you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is Jasmine Papinga. I also have TikTok, and it's called Jazzy Pop.
Okay.
And those are and I also have X, and that's Papinga Jasmine. And so I started off my education actually at a different Big 12 school, who we played in the Alamo Bowl last year, Colorado. Had an awesome year there, but I was convinced by a couple people in the works at BYU football to come over to, I guess you could say, Utah. Happy Valley. Do you guys call it Happy Valley here? Utah
We do.
Valley? God,
We
okay,
do.
I said that one time, and someone's like, "I've never heard that." Okay.
Yes,
Well, I got convinced to come over to Happy Valley, and so now we're here in Provo. Came over to BYU last year, and of course, like you said, I have deep ties to BYU. My dad, Brady Papinga, played here. I was born actually. Well, this past week is my birthday, so I was born during training camp. So I was literally born into this BYU football culture and this team. Yeah, you could say that. But anyways, so deep ties with that, and then of course Kelly's my uncle. So it's been so great being able to be around them. I've done some reporting for BYU TV on ESPN Plus for the women's basketball team and softball team, and I'll be doing soccer coming up as well. But truly, football is my passion. That's my love, my sport. Of course, like I said, I was born into it. Then we went to the Packers, born into that. I've been around football probably more than most girls have, around my age, at the end of the day. But I love it, and I can't wait to just keep covering it and getting to tell these stories about this BYU team in this season that's approaching.
Jasmine's going to be awesome this football season. She was in some of the media scrums this week, just kind of getting to practice, and she knows the scene. But she was, if you heard her voice, you're like thinking, if you're a diehard BYU fan going, I haven't heard her voice, well, you're going to hear it more in media scrums. But also she's going to have some cool coverage, too, throughout the football season. We'll have social media content. It's going to be a lot of fun and some written content. She'll do a lot of great things with us, but we're excited to have you on board, and I know Cougar fans are always excited for additional coverage, and with your strong ties, I mean, you can tell that the passion's there for BYU with you.
Oh, completely. And I will say, I feel like growing up, I was, of course, I have my baby pictures with Cosmo.
Sure.
I was a BYU fan, but not until I came here and I really saw, wow, these people love this team. I'm going to be honest, you guys. I'm going to be completely honest here. I came to the Oklahoma game when I was at Colorado. That was in the works of my dad was like, hey, let's transfer over here. And my one thing I said, because I was older, and I'm used to Colorado, the scene there, and I said, wow, I'm in Lavelle, right? I'm like, wow, everyone's doing this sober. I gotta say, I was impressed. We got the energy. It shows the genuine love for this sport, for this team, the history with it. So I'm excited to be a part of that now.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Yeah, Jasmine, you saw Coach Prime in year one in Boulder. So, yeah, you've seen some big-time college football atmospheres, and you'll be there with you'll be covering every step of the way this season with us. But we're excited to have you, excited to introduce you to Cougar Nation. I know you've already connected with them in many ways already, as you noted, but you fans connect with her, follow her content on her socials as she laid out, and we'll have coverage with Jasmine throughout the football season here on Cougar Sports Saturday. But again, we're just excited to have you on board, Jasmine.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
That's Jasmine Papinga. She'll be with us throughout the football season as our intern here. We're taking a break. On the other side, we'll kick off hour number 3. The AP Top 25 poll is out. BYU crack in. We'll hit on that next here on Cougar Sports Saturday, and it's powered by KSLSports.com.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson.
This is what democracy looks like!
Protests in Austin, Texas, and Chicago in support of Texas Democratic state reps who fled their state to Chicago to deny a quorum for a vote on a new Texas Republican congressional map. Illinois State Senator Selena Villanueva.
Let's give our folks from Texas a Chicago welcome! I can't hear you. Let's make sure that our freedom fighters from Texas get a Chicago welcome!
Texas State Rep Marianne Perez.
It's important for us to show up because we kind of started this battle, I guess, trying to wake America up. Everybody needs to know what's happening. Everyone needs to see what we're fighting for.
Fires and smoke flares lit by protesters in Tel Aviv opposing the Israeli government's handling of the war in Gaza, angry about the government's plan to expand its military operation. Families of Israeli hostages calling for a nationwide day of stoppage in Israel Sunday. This as Israel announced today it's preparing to move Palestinians from combat zones to southern Gaza ahead of a military offensive in some of the territory's most populated areas. President Trump told Ukraine's president and European leaders that at his meeting yesterday in Alaska with Vladimir Putin, the Russian president demanded Ukraine withdraw from all of the unoccupied Donetsk region in exchange for stopping Russia's offensive on 2 other regions. U.S. allies would want security guarantees for Ukraine, something Ukrainian President Zelensky is expected to ask about Monday when he's in Washington to meet with Trump. Growing stronger and more dangerous, Hurricane Erin top winds 160 miles an hour, battering Puerto Rico and St. Martin. Forecast to head east of the Bahamas, passing between the outer banks of North Carolina or Bermuda midweek, raising a big surf along the whole East Coast. You're listening to ABC News.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Ever wonder why you have insurance for your car or home, but not your digital life? Meet WebRoot Total Protection, your digital bodyguard that includes antivirus, identity protection, VPN, cloud backup, and more. With plans for individuals and families, WebRoot takes the guessing game out of cybersecurity so you can get back to living your best life online. Go to webroot.com/offer and get 50% off today. That's webroot.com/offer to get 50% off today. Live a better digital life with WebRoot because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
It's 2:03 at KSL News Radio. I'm Verl Johansson. KSL's top local story this hour. South Salt Lake police are looking for the driver involved in a hit-and-run accident early this morning. Police say the victim was on a bicycle near 2896 South and 900 West around 2 a.m. when a vehicle hit them. Emergency crews took the victim to the hospital in critical condition, but we don't know how they're doing at the moment. The Board of Pardons and Parole is considering whether or not to commute Ralph Menzies' sentence. Menzies' commutation hearing ended yesterday with his attorneys arguing the 67-year-old should have his sentence changed to life in prison without parole due to his declining health and worsening dementia. Family members of the victim, Maureen Hunsaker, disagree, saying Menzies should still face the death penalty. The board will vote on a decision sometime between now and Menzies' execution date, set for September 5th. KSL Sports, we're just 2 weeks away from the start of college football, and Utah State University is going to be without all Mountain West safety Ike Larson after he was suspended by the school. KSL Sports host Sam Farnsworth has more.
A statement that the school issued and was received by KSL Sports said that Larson has been, quote, placed on a short-term suspension from the football team for a violation of team rules. Larson, who is entering his 5th season with Utah State, has recorded 9 interceptions and 2 pick-sixes in his time with the Aggies.
Utah State opens the season on August 30th against University of Texas El Paso. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. It's a smooth drive this afternoon on I-15 north and southbound between Ogden and Provo. Looking good on I-215 around the belt and on I-80 east and westbound between Tooele and Park City. Today's high looking to hit 93 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. We've still got a slight chance we'll see some rain today. More sunshine and a high of 93 tomorrow before we heat up to 95 on Monday and start flirting with triple digits again on Tuesday. Right now, it's partly cloudy and 90 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Verl Johansson, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Ritchie right to the rim, driving score!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here's your host, Mitch Harper, on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
You know the football season is close when the top 25 polls begin rolling out. This past week, the AP Top 25 was released. And where did BYU check into the poll? Well, BYU is just on the outside. After an 11-2 season, BYU doesn't get the benefit of the doubt from the media, the pollsters nationally. Cougs are checking in as the first team receiving votes. So if the poll extended this far, they'd be number 26 in the national rankings. And I'll be honest, That's kind of fair. I think it's okay. With the questions at quarterback and how massive quarterback is, and as I said earlier in hour number 1, if you missed it, go subscribe to the podcast, Cougar Sports Saturday, wherever you get your podcast. I laid out the history of BYU seasons with a true freshman as the starting quarterback, and it's a whole lot of mediocre. There's only been one season that hit at least 9 wins, and that was 2015. Now, again, that's assuming Bear Bachmeier gets the nod, but again, with a true freshman, you're going to have some ups and downs. I'd like to think that this team's better equipped to navigate those ups and downs with a true freshman potentially, and the fact that Bear, I think, is a really mature kid, but it's up and down. You're going to have some moments where it's, not always great level of play. So I think being that first team outside the AP top 25, I think I'm okay with that. I think that's fine. And that's kind of higher than, honestly, I expected. The coaches poll still has BYU ranked in the top 25 entering the season. The Cougars are number 23 in the coaches poll. I will say, though, the Big 12 gets no respect from the AP voters. The Big 12 has just this built-in no respect deal from the media, it seems like. The highest-ranked Big 12 team is Arizona State at number 11. After that, you got to go all the way down to number 17, Kansas State. After that, it's 22, Iowa State, and 23, Texas Tech. So 4 teams from the Big 12 in the AP top 25. BYU would be 5th, Utah 6th, Baylor 7th. First 3 teams in the others receiving votes. So that, again, does highlight the depth of this league, though, when you've got 7 teams in the top 28. It's a good league. It's going to be a talented knockout, drag-out fight every single week in the Big 12 Conference, and I'm here for it. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Brett McMurphy from On3 Sports, he put together some data over the last 11 years in college football. BYU, the most overlooked team in the AP top 25. BYU always starts seasons pretty much unranked. 2022 being an exception, and BYU didn't live up to it that year. They ended up 8-5. Bad defense that year in 2022, and they hit rock bottom on the defensive side. That's what led to the defensive coordinator change. But for the most part, BYU gets overlooked way too often, particularly in the Kalani Sitake era. They've just never gotten any preseason love to going into a season outside of 2022. But even that year, they were barely in the AP top 25 poll. It wasn't like, BYU was a preseason top 15 team. You can even go back to those years with Max Hall at quarterback when it was 2009. And you would have thought, BYU back-to-back years with Max Hall at quarterback, top 25 finishes, they'll be top 10, top 15 heading into that showdown against Oklahoma. Nope, they were in the 20s. BYU's just always been overlooked. They never get that preseason recognition. I hope as society continues to evolve, and I think the smarts of college football fans is they're getting more and more exposed to national product of college football more than ever before, as it's the second most popular sport behind the NFL. It's a national sport now, still with regional ties being the strongest, but it's national. I'd like to think we can get over this notion that we need to have a preseason ranking to tell us what we think of these teams. Like, I don't need number 22 next to Iowa State's name and number 7 next to Kansas State's name to get excited for Iowa State versus Kansas State in Dublin, Ireland. I hope we get to a point in college football where that's not needed to hype up a football game, because these preseason polls, in many respects, are annoying. It's great if you're part of it because it's a great starting point for BYU being right there and the others receiving votes. They're in a great position with a light schedule and non-conference play to crack into the rankings and really build up themselves as a nationally ranked team. But I don't know if BYU's the 26th best team in college football right now. They could be. But to say confidently right now that they are, I don't know. Like, outside of the top 10, I don't feel confident about anyone. Like, I think the margin between even 9 to 40 is pretty thin. Like, I think any one of these teams that are receiving votes or in the back half of the top 25 could be a team that finishes in the top 10. Like, I think there's just way more parity in college football than we realize. And I really hope that we get to a point where these preseason polls are gone. And why can't we wait until week 5, week 6 to start ranking teams? I don't think we have to wait as long as the college football playoff does, where you get to November and then you're starting to put out the rankings. You don't have to wait that long. But why not week 5, week 6, and then start rolling out the AP top 25? Maybe it's a case that the media just wants to still have a stranglehold on the perceptions and the narratives on these teams. But I just feel like a lot of these media members just say, okay, Ohio State, no matter what, till the end of days, they'll always be preseason top 5 because of the logo on the helmet. Like, I look at Texas Tech's roster, and I'd say that should be a roster that's top 10 good. I've got them in my – I vote in the Super 16 with the Football Writers Association of America. I've got Texas Tech at number 11, and people would look at that and go, what, 11 for Texas Tech? Well, why? Because just their logo has said that they never win anything, but this is 2025. What does the history of Texas Tech have to do with anything this year? You know, I just – that's what I don't like about college football. There's so many teams in the sport. So it's almost impossible for a media member to cover and know everything about all these teams. So then you just default to, okay, recruiting rankings. Oh, okay, resources, budgets. Oh, they play in the 100,000-seat stadium. Oh, they've been good forever. Well, it's like they've always been good forever because they've always gotten the benefit of the doubt. That's the insane thing about college football. Like, I hate resorting to all those tired narratives in the sport. I hope we get smarter media members and people to talk about this sport from a more objective perspective rather than saying SEC, Big Ten. That's it. And speaking of the Big Ten, did you see this? This college football playoff proposal, man, it's crazy. The college football playoff is a hot topic in this sport right now because, well, after the 2025 season, we don't have a structure and a format for the playoff yet for 2026. And the deadline is in December to decide what the format for 2026 season and beyond for college football is going to be. ESPN's Pete Thamel reported on Saturday morning today that the Big Ten Conference is, this is the quote from X, sources per Pete Thamel, the Big Ten has begun populating an expanded college football playoff idea, which could include 24 or 28 teams. Just an idea at this point. Thamel goes on to write that the proposal eliminates conference title games and having a large number of auto bids for all 4 power leagues. For example, in a 28-team model that was proposed, auto bids would go to the Big Ten and SEC, 7 bids each. ACC and Big 12 would get 5 each. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Look, I'm okay with a 28-team playoff. Honestly, I'd be okay with that because I feel good about BYU's chances getting into that playoff. I think they'd get into that thing quite a bit. But the thing I hate is that you got to have these automatic bids. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why does the 7th place SEC Big Ten team need to get in to the playoff before the season even starts? That's so dumb to me. I just think that is ridiculous. Like, I'm okay with going to 24 or 28 teams. I'm fine with that. The traditions of college football have been squashed to me for so long that this is a completely new look sport. We're trying to hold on to, nostalgia, alma mater, this tradition, pageantry. That's all gone, man. It's all in the name of mighty dollars. We've ended that. We need to let go of that. And look, there's still the connection to some of that in college football, and that's always going to be there. But I'm okay with reinventing the sport because the current stuff, the 12-team deal, wasn't great for the Big 12. I'm in for what the Big 12 and for BYU, I cover that beat. I want to see those leagues in BYU have the best position possible. You get a 24-team playoff going. I like BYU and the Big 12's chances of getting in that playoff quite a bit. But I want it to be more at-large based and have defined metrics that the at-large pool is based out of, what the committee looks at to determine those at-large teams. I don't want it to be automatically, okay, here's the higher tier leagues, here's the second-tier leagues. Because with the money that BYU's spending, with the money that Texas Tech's spending, why can't those programs become absolute juggernauts? Will it happen? I don't know. But in 10 years from now, who's to say it won't? Money can give you a chance to become incredible in this sport now. The best teams will eventually be the highest paying rosters. And with revenue sharing, you're instantly in the mix as a power conference team. And then if you have the collectives and the fan bases that are willing to really go all in and pay a premium in NIL to get these players and give them their endorsements, why can't some program from the ACC or the Big 12 or even a group of 6 team, why can't they become powerhouses in this landscape? So that, to me, I think it's so strange how the Big Ten wants to have these automatic bids. If you're truly the second best or best league in college football, why are you worried about automatic qualifiers? I think it's the dumbest argument. They're saying, oh, well, it'll incentivize us to play better non-conference games. Well, just do it right now. Who's Ohio State ducking? They're probably not the best team to point to because they actually do go play teams. They got Texas in the opener. But what are you afraid of coming to Provo for a game in a home and home if you're Purdue? Why not do it? If you're so big, bad, and mighty Big Ten, go make it happen. Oh, wait, the secret would be these Big 12 venues are pretty tough. You go to Provo, you go to Salt Lake, you go to Lubbock. It's tough venues. You're probably going to lose. And they don't want the narrative to ever die that they're just this juggernaut, this colossus that can't be taken down. That's why they need these automatic bids. Do the at-large system. Go to 24 teams, but make it at-large, and then incentivize the conference champions. And then we have a beautiful system that's national, and everyone's got access to it, and then it becomes an amazing sport. And then still schedule up because you can lose 2 or 3 games because then you still can get to the playoff as a 9-3 team. It's just crazy to me. College football is nuts, man. Like, I love this sport, but it is really the dumbest sport behind the scenes with the people that are trying to run the sport altogether. Hopefully the Big 12 can just get its preferred method, which is 5 plus 11. I think that would be an outstanding format for college football to have 5 automatic qualifiers as conference champions and then 11 at-large bids. And I think the Big 12 over time, with the resources that the Big 12 teams are investing, they'll get into that playoff more than you realize right now. Still, it's taking time at the moment, but I think the Big 12 will rewrite that narrative in the future going forward. But some fascinating stuff on the college football playoff front, and it just reminds me, too, that we need football back. I'm tired of talking about this behind-the-scenes stuff of playoff this, playoff that. Let's get some actual games. We're 2 weeks away from BYU football returning. Let's take a break. On the other side, we will get to some conversations with some BYU football players, Will Farron and Isaiah Jada, next here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
Celebrate summer at 500 degrees. Not the weather, just the mouth-watering, sizzling steaks from Ruth's Chris, downtown or Hotel Park City.
It's time to get a new Bernina machine at Dave's Bernina in St. George and Provo.
Incredible August savings on the Bernina 770 Cape and 700 embroidery closeout machines. And you've got to see the exciting all-new Bernina entry-level and pro lineup machines with limited special introductory pricing. Save hundreds to thousands of dollars on select Bernina sewing, quilting, and embroidery machines and get special free bundles of accessories.
These free gift packages include items such as embroidery kits,
presser feed set,
machine and travel cases,
embroidery software coupons,
books, ruler kits, and lots of accessories.
0% interest for 18 months on certain models. See store for details.
Come in now for bargains on trade-ins, classroom, and demo machines that come with warranties. Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo. Come see the Bernina 990, the most amazing revolutionary sewing machine in the world.
And it's on sale.
If you need new windows and you live in Utah, there's only one choice. There are other window companies, but they're more expensive and their windows aren't made in Utah for Utah's ever-changing climate. Advanced Window Products has been building state-of-the-art windows right here in Salt Lake for 39 years. And since they're the factory, they cut out the middleman and you save 30, even 40% on new windows. Plus, right now as they book for fall, Advanced Windows will give you $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. They build the windows, install the windows, and guarantee them for life. And since they're right here in Utah, if you have a problem years from now, just call them. They'll come over. Advanced Windows offers 0% financing, buy now, pay later. They're affordable. Get your new windows and get the energy savings before we get to winter. $2,500 off. Call them, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
You're the backyard big shot, the patio perfectionist, the envy of barbecue hosts all over the neighborhood. When it comes to your lawn, power moves are the only moves you make. That's why you just applied IFA Spring and Summer Lawn Food for healthy turf that stays green all summer. IFA Spring and Summer Lawn Food. It's the ultimate lawn owner power move.
Everyone needs a checking account, so get the one with built-in benefits to complement your unique lifestyle. Mountain America's My Style Checking has perks no one can pass up. You'll enjoy sizzling restaurant deals, peace of mind mobile phone protection, timely telehealth access, built-in identity protection, and clutch loan rate discounts. Make My Style your lifestyle at Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/mystyle. Insured by NCUA. Membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits require no cost registration or activation. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up, like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
With Progressive, you can reach customer service in the way that's easiest for you, by phone, app, or online. We know it would be great if we just magically appeared, but that's more of a genie thing, and we do insurance. But with us, you'd be like, well, it wasn't a genie, but it was great customer service, so that's nice. And sure, you probably would still like the whole 3 wishes thing, so if you meet a genie, you should definitely ask. But when you need us, contact Progressive by phone, app, or online. Just no genies. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Cougar Sports Saturday here on KSL News Radio. Mitch Harper with you. Just some closing thoughts, too, on that college football playoff talk about the idea of a 2014 playoff. Big Ten's probably pushing out this radical idea to ultimately try to get its initial once, which is a 16-team playoff with 4 bids to the SEC, 4 bids to the Big Ten, 2 to the ACC, 2 to the Big 12. If I'm the Big 12 and ACC, I'm like, call them on their bluff. Say, you know what? You go do your own thing, Big Ten. We're going to go do our own thing with the NCAA basketball tournament in our back pocket. I'd call them on their bluff on that. I just do not cave to that idea. Go to 5+11, but had to just put that out there. BYU kicker Will Ferrin is a star for the Cougars, and he is going to be a weapon for BYU. This is my conversation with Will Ferrin at BYU football camp as he gets ready for a senior campaign.
BYU football fall camp rolls on here with senior kicker Will Ferrin. It's crazy. I think year 3 already. Can you believe it? Is it felt a little different going through a senior season in this last fall camp?
It's crazy. It's like part of me feels like I've been doing this forever, and part of me feels like I just started. So it's cool. It goes fast, but I'm just glad to be doing it another year.
I was just asking Kalani Sitake a moment ago. You know, I don't know if it's hard to assess, but special teams was so impactful last year. From your perspective, being the leader of the special teams group, how do you feel like this group as a collection with you and Sam and then the returners, just how do you feel like this group's all going to come together this year with special teams?
I think we're going to come together really well. I think one thing we all have in common is that we're obsessed with what we're doing. I love kicking footballs. Sam loves punting. The snappers love snapping. It's like in the off season we talk about how on a kick day when we're going to come in and practice in the morning, it's like the night before you're just excited to come in and do it. So we take a lot of pride in it. We really enjoy it, and because of that, it helps us to put in the work to be successful.
Has your summer and off season been, before camp started, was it a little more getting recognized at places you'd go to? I mean, because you had one of the great kicks in BYU history, getting that game winner against Utah. Has life been a little different for Will Ferrin these days?
Not that much different. There's just the occasional, like, someone saying something to me while I walk by. That happens a good amount, but it's not much different than it has been.
What was the offseason like for you? I mean, I think a lot of us talk about what do quarterbacks do? Going to work with John Beck and this. What does a kicker do? Someone that's looking to improve their craft and become, I think one of the best kickers in the sport this year.
Yeah, it's a mix of a lot of things where it's like we put a lot of emphasis on the mental game and developing that. I have a coach that I work with. We also do travel around a little bit. Sam went back to Australia and worked with a coach there. I went to Orlando and I went to Tennessee for a couple different just training sessions. Just cool. A lot of guys from all over the country. And you get to go and put your heads together and find ways to just lift each other up. So it's cool. I think it's one of the things about being a kicker where it's like you work out with guys from other teams and no one really thinks about it, so it's fun.
Was it just a collection of kickers in college football that you worked with down in Orlando, or was it a certain trainer that you've identified that kind of helped you in the offseason?
It was a few different trainers, so I've kind of just jumped around to a bunch of different guys and just try and get information from anywhere that I can. So
whenever I think of some of your kicks from last year, that for whatever reason that kick against Colorado, the 54-yarder, the sound of the ball, like it exploded off your foot. Maybe it was just the dome, but how long is your distance, you feel like, with your range coming into this season?
Yeah, in the last few practices, warming up, I felt good inside of 65. Our strength staff's been awesome this year. They're really good at everything's intentional for kicking, building up power, building up explosiveness, and it all leads up to right now. It's like we get our bodies feeling as good as we can going into camp and going into the season. It's like right now I'm hitting the 65, and it's the best I've felt all year, and then going into the season and feeling really good about distance.
What is a typical workflow in a practice day for you as far as kicking and the amount of kicks that you're putting out?
Yeah, it's kind of like pitching a baseball where you need to keep track of the reps that you do and make sure you're not overloading your legs. So we kick about every other practice. We'll do kick teams one day, return teams another day. And it's mostly at the beginning of practice. So we'll do we call it Around the World, where we kick field goals from all these different spots. And then sometimes we'll incorporate a 2-minute situation or something where we're running on and hitting a field goal with the team. And on the days that we don't get that, we just kind of do our own stuff and hit run-on field goals or try and simulate what kicking in a game is going to be like. So every other day, as many team reps as we can get, we love, but we can also simulate our own reps on the side.
What about Sam? Is it similar kind of structure for him too as far as the punting goes?
Yeah, it's similar. We're that split of kick teams and return teams, and then we're getting snaps and holds for field goal constantly. I think every day we're doing that. So
from your vantage point, just how do you feel the team as a whole, offense, defense, special teams, the whole group, how's this coming together? Maybe what's some different attributes about this team compared to last year's really talented team?
Yeah, I think right now we have a lot of experience. There's experience and there's confidence in the building, where a lot of guys got to play last year, a lot of guys got time, and a lot of guys made plays. So now going into this next season, we've done it, we've been there before. In some positions, it's like several guys in the room have made significant plays. So we're a confident team, and I think we also know that there's a process to it and that we're not going to do anything by getting ahead of ourselves. So we're very locked into the moment and what we're doing right now, and how that translates into down the road, I guess.
And last thing for you, Will, just how excited for you for those opportunities whenever they come up to get that chance for a big kick or wherever it may be. Just how excited are you for another chance to keep doing it at a high level?
I'm so excited. There's nothing like it. I think ever since I was a kid, I thought about kicking footballs at Lavelle or anywhere else in the country, and it's a pretty cool feeling. So when the season runs around again and we get to do it, I'm very excited for it.
BYU kicker Will Farron. He is maybe the best kicker in college football. Excited to see what he can do in his senior season. Taking a break. On the other side, the most improved players of BYU football next.
Hey, this is Dan the Laptop Man from PC Laptops. Myth. You might have heard that you need to spend a fortune these days to get a powerful computer. Correction. At PC Laptops, we wanted to prove that wrong. So here's the most amazing deal that we've ever done at PC Laptops for you in over 30 years. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Take one home today. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
The power of we believes in you. It advocates for you. It completes your circle. It makes sure you have the strongest circle possible. And with Intermountain Health in yours, you'll always have the care you need to live the healthiest life possible. That's the power of we. Intermountain Health.
Jeff Kaplan. When you're online, that's sometimes a source of fourth-hand information. Somebody does the reporting. Another website Googles, they find it, they rewrite it, and by the time you read it, you know the old game telephone. But KSL is a source of primary information. We have reporters on the street. They're out in the field finding out the details. And the difference between online and KSL News Radio, night and day.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Americans may not agree on much, but we agree on Social Security. We all pay in. It ought to be there when we need it. Social Security could face a funding gap in less than a decade, and I don't want to see a pay cut. I'm with AARP in the fight to protect the Social Security we earned.
Pledge to protect Social Security at aarp.org/weearnedit. That's aarp.org/weearnedit. Paid for by AARP.
It's the final countdown during Motorsportsland's summer clearance event. We've got to make room for next year's inventory, so now's your chance to save tens of thousands on in-stock models before they're gone. Chase sunsets, roast marshmallows, and make memories that stick long after the trip is over. Want adventure on a budget? You're in luck. We have travel trailers from just $6 a day and fifth wheels starting under $14 a day. Whether it's quick weekend getaways or long summer road trips, we've got the RV to fit your lifestyle. And remember, our prices include freight, prep, propane, and even personalized RV training at no extra charge. Other dealers, they'll stack on outrageous fees and pretend it's standard. But at Motorsportsland, we don't play that game. We've been family-owned and proudly local for over 55 years, doing business the honest way. So skip the gimmicks, shop where the pros shop, and let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Motorsportsland.com.
It's Cougar Sports Saturday.
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary and gets in for 6.
Cougar Sports Saturday, a presentation of KSL Sports.
Richie right to the rim, driving score!
BYU Sports Talk by Cougar fans for Cougar fans. Here's your host, Mitch Harper, on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
We're live here on this Saturday afternoon, KSL News Time, 2:34 p.m. If you've missed any part of the program, subscribe to Cougar Sports Saturday wherever you get your podcast. That would be greatly appreciated. Go into on Apple, Spotify, Overcast, YouTube, Pocket Cast, wherever you get your podcast. Leave that 5-star rating, maybe a review too. You could do that. That'd be great. Appreciate that. So any support on the podcast feed would be greatly appreciated because you got to get your BYU sports fix as we're now getting into the thick of football season. And today we'll conclude week 3 of fall camp for the BYU football team. And Kalani noted earlier this week when I asked him when does he want to end fall camp, and he said, roughly around 2 weeks before. So we're getting to the end of camp. Maybe Monday will be that final day for the Cougars. We shall see. But we're nearing the end of fall camp. And next time when we talk on Saturday, camp's going to be over, and it's going to be focusing, of course, on Portland State. It'll be game week, basically. So it got me thinking, I wanted to go over players who have improved their stock in fall camp. And I'm going to go by positions. And, I could give you the deep cut guys because there have been many, young freshmen that have really kind of caught my attention. And for those sort of breakdowns, you could go to the Cougar Tracks podcast to get those. But for the names that you're probably going to see in games week after week, players that I believe have improved in camp and are getting better, and where I feel like they're going to be more improved versions of themselves if they were returning guys or guys that are really going to make a big impact if they're a new face this season. So we'll go by position. Quarterback, of course, Bear Bachmeier. You know, to go from being a true freshman who arrived in June, late May, early June, to now being on the doorstep of being QB1 and be the first ever true freshman quarterback to open a season as BYU starter potentially. Clearly, his stock is rising for BYU football, and we'll talk about this more on the other side with the quarterback breakdown. But, you know, I will say the mechanics are good with Bear Bachmeier. And then you pair it up with his ability to run, his physicality in the run game. There's a lot to like with Bear Bachmeier and his potential and what everyone kind of defaults to, his ceiling. But I always just kind of warn and say true freshmen are going to have a mixed bag of results and mistakes, but I think you're willing to navigate that because there's a lot of personnel around that true freshman to really lift them up. And one of those guys in particular who I believe is going to be excellent this season is running back L.J. Martin. He's leaned out a little bit. You know, last year the focus was adding on weight, about 20 pounds or so. He just looks like he's in the best shape of his life. He looks fantastic. He's running the football well. He's healthier than he's been. And LJ looks special. He looks like he's due for that 1,000-yard season. And that's hard. I mean, that is tough to come by. He's led BYU in rushing the past 2 years. And you think about where the ground attack has come from 2 years ago, where they were the worst rushing offense in maybe Power 4 football, definitely the Big 12, to now, with LJ getting ready for a big year, and probably a big workload too, LJ's stock is rising. On the offensive line, Isaiah Jada. Isaiah Jada is, I think, being slept on. And maybe when he committed to BYU from Colorado, I kind of slept on him a little bit too. But since the moment the calendar turned to 2025, Isaiah Jada has been BYU's left tackle on the first-team offense. I caught up with him to kind of get to know Isaiah and catch up with him on, you know, how his second year in the BYU football program is going as the Cougars' new starting left tackle.
BYU football fall camp rolls on here with left tackle Isaiah Jada. How's it feel to be back at left tackle?
I mean, it feels awesome, you know, going back to my natural position, so everything's been feeling good so far.
Year two at BYU, I think last year you stepped in that Utah game, did a really nice job, but I don't know if people realize, like, you were dealing, what was it, an ankle injury, I believe? How you feel health-wise as far as navigating this season here at BYU?
I feel awesome right now. The strength staff and the PT group has been doing an amazing job getting me back right, getting me healthy, make sure my mobility is there. So I'm feeling super amazing. But yes, I did get injured last year, which did sideline me for the Colorado Bowl game and the Houston game. But yeah, I did mess up my ankle a little bit during the ASU game. But I did finish the game though.
You did, and I gotta ask you, like, going back to last year, was that a bummer to miss that Colorado game?
Nah, it was for sure. I mean, just to miss any time playing football, like me being away from the sport kind of does suck because it takes away from my growth on the football field. And, you know, also I want to be there for my teammates too when they're going through hard, challenging times as far as on the field too. So,
how rewarding has it been, though, for Coach Woods, just every first-team rep, it's going to you at left tackle, and the investment that Roderick and Woods have put into you and saying you're going to be the next big-time left tackle for BYU?
I mean, it's a blessing, honestly. Like a few years ago, I would have asked myself if I would be in this position. I'd probably say no. But it's just testament to my hard work and my dedication to staying focused. And it's just staying on the right path and doing things the right way. So I'm glad that they have rewarded me with this, but now it's time to go to work for real now.
Just to follow up, though, on that, why a few years ago would you not have felt this was possible?
Was coming from junior college, I was a little bit, you know, overlooked in my situation and stuff like that. So just me being a part of like any Division I program at that time, like that at that point in time, was probably like a little bit far-fetched for me. I was a little bit overweight. I wasn't doing things the right way, wasn't living right. So that's probably why.
The relationship that you formed, though, with BYU staff when you're at Snow College, you went to Colorado initially, but then came here. When you left Colorado, what was it about BYU? You said, I got to go there this time.
It was really just a culture and the connections that I had to this program. At Snow College, there's so many different players that end up going to coach out there, and it really felt similar to BYU, like how they run things at Snow. As far as like from some workouts that we do are also similar to the things that we do up here, like as far as Friday finishers and just like the way they do some conditioning tests are kind of similar too. So I thought that was kind of interesting for me to, come and check out myself. And as far as the coaches, like I said, that were at Snow College, some of them actually did end up coming and coach back up here. And when I would come and see them on my visits, it just felt like home when I would come up here. So I just had to lock it in with BYU.
Last thing for you, Isaiah, and won't take up any more of your time. What can fans expect the tandem of you and Gentry at the tackle spot this year?
I mean, they're going to get really smart guys on the edges, guys who know what they're doing on the football field at all times, dudes who are going to be super fast and, very communicative to the guards and to the quarterback, what I'm saying, when there are blitzes and stunts and stuff like that. But you're also going to have, like, good guys that are into position to, ready to take over the reign of being great tackles here at BYU. You look at the list, there's so many guys, Braden Christensen, Caleb Etienne, Braden Kime, been through this program and have done great things. So I'm excited for it.
That's Isaiah Jada, and he is definitely one of the most improved, or I don't want to say improved, but his stock is rising during this fall camp. I think Jada has been excellent. He's done a good job of setting the edge consistently. I think Isaiah Jada will be a good player. Now, is he going to be first team all Big 12 like Caleb Etienne? I don't know if I'm willing to go that far, but, because you got guys like Spencer Fano in this league and even Caleb Lomu, like Utah's got a legit O-line. But I think Jada could be really good and effective for what BYU does with its offensive line, so I'm excited for Jada. Going back to the players who have improved their stock the most in fall camp, tight end Carson Ryan. You hear about him all the time. You see the clips. He has been a focal point in camp and spring ball as well. Carson Ryan, I would expect, is going to have some numbers for BYU in the receiving game this year. And then also, a guy that's improving to his stock is wide receiver Cody Hagan. I am on the Cody Hagan hype train. I believe, honestly, that Cody Hagan could be wide receiver 2 by season's end. I think Cody Hagan is going to be big time for BYU in his career. Only a sophomore, but eventually going to be, I think, a wide receiver 1 in the future. Hagan is a special talent, elite speed. He's just textbook, but then you got great athleticism too to pair up with it. He's healthy now. He's looking great in fall camp. Defensive side, D-line, Keanu Tanavasa. And that's a high bar too, because high expectations placed on Keanu coming into camp. I mean, think about what Jay Hill was saying. He could be the best D tackle in college football. You kidding me? That's the expectations placed on that guy. He's living up to it. To the point where he's making Bruce Mitchell, who was a really good center for BYU and guard last season. Look, at times like Bruce is struggling. At times. Bruce has done a really nice job kind of getting his snaps right after an up and down first week. But Keanu is living up to it, and he's becoming a leader too. Or he is the leader of this defense. Another leader on the defense too is safety Tanner Wall. A dogfight at safety was how Jay Hill set the tone for the safety position competition. I look at Tanner Wall to be one of the top safeties. Unexpected guy. We've always known, the people that follow this day in, day out, of his talent and how good he is. I mean, a former wide receiver out of Virginia, really great athlete. Wall is just, you can trust him. You can count on him every single play. He's going to do the right thing, and he makes plays too. Tanner Wall is going to be really good this season in his senior year. Maury Bamba, we talked about him with General Guilford. He's going to be cornerback 1. And then a linebacker. Here's an interesting name that hasn't got enough run in camp, but he's gaining steam this past week. Che Bryant Strother. I think we're getting to a point where we're going to see a lot of rotation between Siale Acera and Che Bryant Strother at that Mike linebacker position. At a minimum, Bryant Strother is that 4th linebacker for BYU. So if you go to an odd front, you got 3 front linemen, you got an extra linebacker, I think you bring in Bryant Strother. Bryant Strother, of course, the younger brother to BYU basketball star Elijah Bryant. It was cool. His sister-in-law, I see her pop up on my FYP, and she's like, making a gift basket for my brother-in-law for fall camp. I'm like, who's her brother-in-law? I'm like, oh, yeah, Che Bryant Strother. It's like, you're in the thick of fall camp when you're seeing gift baskets from the girlfriends, the wives. Like, I'm neck deep in it, man. Like get me to a game already. I'm like, oh, he's getting these dried bananas. Okay, that looks pretty good. Like, no, I need football in my life. But Brian Strother has looked good in camp thus far. But that's my 10 guys that I would say would be the most improved in terms of their stock rising as we're 2 weeks away from BYU football kicking off the season against the Portland State Vikings. Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll revisit the quarterback competition with Nate Slack and Jasmine Papinga here in studio. It's Cougar Sports Saturday. It's powered by KSL Sports.
Hi, friends. Dan, the Laptop Man here from PC Laptops. In celebration of over 32 years of serving humans in Utah with their computer and tech needs, we've slashed our prices. And these are the new 2025 models. Here's the deal. You can get our new 2025 S1 desktop with a blazing Ryzen 5 processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing fast storage on this promotion. We also have our new 2025 SM3 laptop with the Intel i5 processor, 16 gigs, and over a terabyte of storage for $999. You can take one home today for $999. And you also get the peace of mind of our lifetime service warranty. We also have 12 months special financing available, and they start as low as $29 a month. But hurry in because supplies are limited. Because at PC Laptops, we love you. PCLaptops.com. Take home a blazing fast 2025 model desktop or laptop for $999 at PCLaptops.com.
You want to see basketball played the way it's supposed to be? Tune in to Ice Cube's Big 3 this summer. Watch stars like Dwight Howard, Kemba Walker, Joe Johnson, Michael Beasley, and many more, along with Hall of Fame coaches. Experience the fast pace and physical play and fun action that defines the game. You know what it is. It's the Big 3. Catch the best professional 3-on-3 players in the world live every weekend on CBS and Vice.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
You want to see basketball played the way it's supposed to be? Tune in to Ice Cube's Big 3 this summer. Watch stars like Dwight Howard, Kemba Walker, Joe Johnson, Michael Beasley, and many more, along with Hall of Fame coaches. Experience the fast pace and physical play and fun action that defines the game. You know what it is. It's the Big 3. Catch the best professional 3-on-3 players in the world live every weekend on CBS and Vice.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
The Garden Restaurant is reimagined space with exceptional taste. With a fresh, healthy menu, dine-in, or online ordering. Open weekdays 11 to 3. The Garden Restaurant, next to Temple Square.
Welcome back into Cougar Sports Saturday. Mitch Harper, Nate Slack, Jasmine Papinga with you here in studio in Salt Lake at Broadcast House. Missed any part of the show, subscribe to the podcast. 2 weeks away till kickoff, everyone. BYU Portland State and the hot topic around Happy Valley, as Jasmine calls it. And it is. Like people, I used to always call that Happy Valley. Quarterback one, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Bear Bachmeier? McKay Hill's trending towards Bear Bachmeier, of course. I'm curious, Nate Slack. You can follow him on X, Nate Slack 5. Are you all in? You all in on Bear? Or are you kind of pausing a little bit and getting like, hey, I'm okay with McKay too? Like, are you all in on Bear?
You know, I'm all in. I would be okay with McKay, but I think just the long term of it, I think Bear Bachmeier gives you a better ceiling. I think the floor probably lowers for this season as well. And there was we went to the practice that was open to Cougar Club members on Friday night, and there was a pass that he made, or Thursday, yes. A pass that he made that was probably not the smartest decision.
7-on-7 with Falatau Satuala.
Yeah, directly to Satuala was intercepted. But I think at the end of the day, you have a guy who apparently, according to Aaron Roderick, is picking up the offense at lightning fast speed. Mm-hmm. He's got that size he wanted the quarterback. He's 6'2". He's listed at 220, but I think he's more 230, 235 is what I had been hearing from friends. But I think just the ceiling of it sounds fun. I think the narrative of having a freshman quarterback, and you know that there's going to be if he is the starting quarterback against Portland State, there's going to be a play where he runs over some defensive back, and that's going to go viral because he's a quarterback number 47 who's trucking dudes.
Does that also scare you though? That he's going to take hits? Like, is he going to be smart enough to avoid the contact and not because you got to stay healthy, you got to keep him upright.
Yeah, it does concern me, and I think at least with starting out against Portland State, I think he's going to be upright more often.
For sure. Portland State's not going to put any fear. Like, they're going to hammer them.
Yeah, but I think it at least puts up a little bit of a ramp because I think Stanford's going to have more pressure, but they're not going to have as much pressure as a Utah would have or as a Kansas or a Kansas State. But I think it's a perfect scenario to bring in a starting quarterback to play against a lower level FCS team and then to play against we obviously don't know how good Stanford's going to be, but chances are they're not going to be a very good team. And then there's a bye. You can kind of take a look back at the film and tweak some things heading into East Carolina. But I think just the way the schedule is built allows for BYU to start a freshman quarterback, where in past seasons that wouldn't be the case.
Joining us in studio, too, is our BYU football intern for the season here at KSL, Jasmine Papinga. You can follow her on Instagram, Jasmine Papinga. What do you think, Jasmine? You've seen this team up close in person, and you've been to some practices. What do you make of the idea of Bear Bachmeier being QB1? Do you like it, or are you kind of a little more hesitant and want to see McKay Hillstead?
I like it a lot. I will say one thing that I've noticed that is pretty impressive because, again, the biggest thing, not to beat a dead horse, but the biggest thing for me about this loss of Jake is more the timing of it. But what I've seen with, Carson Ryan, JoJo, there's been some passes, completions that they've got some chemistry already going with these receivers, with these wideouts. It already looks like with Bear, in my opinion, like I've told you this before, he's a guy where I see him, he looks comfortable, like back there. He looks comfortable. He can put balls in people's hands, and I like it a lot. I think he looks more comfortable than a couple of the other quarterbacks, in my opinion. I wouldn't be totally like, McKay's starting, bummer. Like, I'm also, too, where, like, if Roderick decides, hey, no, this is our safe spot, we're going to go with McKay, I would completely respect that decision and say, honestly, like, that's fair enough as well. But from what I've seen at these practices and these availabilities and stuff, I feel like it's kind of not a no-brainer because obviously there's all the logistics that go into it, like we've mentioned, but I think Bear's your guy. Personally, I would say, out of my opinion, Bear's your guy, and I'd love to see him start.
One thing that really bothers me about the criticism of McKay is all the talk about his size, and they talk about the size this, size that. They don't talk about that with Devin Dampier at Utah. But they also talk about it like he was 6'4" at one point, and now all of a sudden he's 5'10", and he has to learn how to play quarterback when he's 5'10". And that's not the case because he's always been that height. He's always been able to do well. He did well at Utah State.
And he's tough, too. Like, he had an injury at Sky Ridge, ankle injury, and he played in a state title. Like, And at Utah State, he probably didn't have as good of an offensive line as he will have here at BYU.
Totally.
And he made it happen, and he went up against James Madison, who we know really good group of 5, group of 6 program, and he put up 400-something yards. So McKay Hillstead's got, where you got film in games, you just almost wonder, too, does Aaron Roderick believe in him? Because he didn't recruit him much out of high school. Like, they went with Ryder Burton. And then McKay hits the portal and comes to BYU, and they go with him then. But it's like that initial, vision of him or idea of him, they weren't sold on him. Whereas Bear Bachmeier, when he was a sophomore in high school, A-Rod wanted him, and they were all in on him. But then he commits to Stanford, and then they get him in the spring portal window. So I think those sort of things always kind of play into my mind. Like, if all things equal, who's the guy you really believe in? I kind of feel like A-Rod is all in on Bear. And like the way he talks about him, too, it's just, you can tell there's a lot of belief in his potential. And I think what also is interesting about Bear, too, is that, not that it, applies to him, like he's his own man, but, his family, his older brother Hank did this too. He was a true freshman at Boise State, started against Florida State. I remember watching that game here in this studio, and Hank Bachmeier, it was the 2019 season. I think they won that game. I think he had a massive game in Tallahassee with Jimbo where they weren't a complete dumpster fire. Like, they were good, Florida State. So I think that maybe helps too, where he can pick the brain of his older brother and say, like, what is this like as a true freshman to carry the weight of a program? BYU, like Boise State, got a strong history at the quarterback position, a lot of pressure. So I think that can maybe help Bear navigate this when he's got someone so close that he can turn to and trust and confide in. I think that helps with this, because this will be a mentally taxing deal. Like, you will go through it as a quarterback. It's so different than any other position. You've got to be strong, and you got to have a strong support system to navigate this. And I think that helps Bear, too, navigating this.
And that's one thing we've talked about off the air, is just you're not factoring in also the difficulties of starting college classes. And I know that Bear went to Stanford for a semester, and so it's not totally the same, but BYU is a different school from Stanford, so you're getting used to going to religion classes and just the grind of being a student athlete. And now you're all of a sudden the starting quarterback at the same time, and you have to still work out with the team, and you still have to lead in different ways, and you have to watch all your film. And I think it's one thing that people don't talk about enough is probably the difficulties of off the field and being able to navigate and making sure that you're comfortable and still getting all the work done you need to.
You know that as well as anyone right now, Jasmine. I mean, you're going through it. You're a student at BYU right now. I mean, it's taxing. It's no joke at BYU.
It's different. It's definitely different. And I think personally obviously I don't know Bear personally. And I feel like there's obviously been personal comments, like even from what, I'm trying to think exactly who, but there's been comments about these quarterbacks and just this group that they have right now, that they are leaders. They're guys that are coming in, and I think it was Bruce Mitchell yesterday was saying, like, I'm happy with all of them. Like, we love creating this pocket for them. We love doing it for all of them. They're all coming in, like, hyping up the huddle, everything. I think Bear, honestly, I feel like I wouldn't be that concerned about it. I feel like he wants it bad to me. I think he wants it bad, and I think he'll get over these religion classes. You can do 10 hours of religion. Come on. You can do, if you want to play in the NFL this bad, you can do 10 hours. You can do a couple things that BYU has, and if that's going to set you up for success, that's going to set you up for success.
And he's got his brother, too.
And that's my opinion. And you have your brother with you, too. And you have the whole team. It's not like he's the only one going through it. And I think he knows that the spot he's in right now, too. We're like, okay, I have big shoes. Well, not to necessarily fill, but I have standards I want to uphold. This is a Big 12 team we've got here. We got to go in and win some games. So I think he knows what he has to do. I would like to say, not that I'm trying to be on the whole Bear crazy train, but I do think he could do it.
She's Jasmine Papinga, Nate Slack, producer. Great work by both of you today. Thanks to our board op, Tita. We will be back next week, or 2 weeks away, until kickoff here on Cougar Sports Saturday.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. Anti-Trump protests in several U.S. cities, citing specific local grievances and a general opposition to the current president. This protest in Washington against what the marchers call a Trump power grab, aiming to have the feds take over the Washington, D.C. Police Department. So far, a partially failed attempt, and against deportations. In Austin, Texas, and this one in Chicago.
This is what democracy looks like! This is what democracy
Rallies supported the Texas Democratic state reps who fled their state to Chicago to deny a quorum for a vote on a new Texas Republican congressional map. Texas State Rep Cassandra Garcia Hernandez.
Well, I'm here because it was important that all of us stand united against what we're seeing, a power grab by a con man in the White House, and making sure that Texans decide what we do with Texas maps.
Some of these protesters, the Israeli expansion of the war in Gaza, lit fires and smoke flares in Tel Aviv. Families of Israeli hostages calling for a nationwide day of stoppage in Israel Sunday. Israel announcing it's preparing to move Palestinians from combat zones to southern Gaza ahead of a military offensive. President Trump telling Ukraine's president and European leaders that at his meeting in Alaska, Russian President Putin demanded Ukraine withdraw from all of the unoccupied Donetsk region in exchange for stopping Russia's offensive on two other regions. U.S. allies would want security guarantees for Ukraine. ABC's Patrick Reevell.
It would be essentially very, very difficult for Ukraine to accept because the Donetsk region that is unoccupied by Russia contains a belt of cities that are key to Ukraine's defense.
Growing stronger and more dangerous, Hurricane Erin top winds 160 miles an hour, battering Puerto Rico and St. Martin. Forecast to head east of the Bahamas. You're listening to ABC News.
The Social Security Administration just announced they are now projected to run out of money 1 year earlier than expected. Benefits could be cut by as much as 23%, and the average person could lose more than $100,000 in lifetime income. This news could significantly change when you file for Social Security. Discover how you could get every penny out of your benefits with a free Social Security analysis from Boss Retirement Solutions. If you've saved more than $300,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. This free, customized analysis could help you get every penny out of Social Security. Call 801-896-9622. That number again, 801-896-9622.
Boss Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the Social Security Administration. Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
If you have a 2004 or newer vehicle that's out of warranty or about to be, Endurance is urgently notifying U.S. drivers about their low-cost